Whoa, there she is. Mo Mini. Okay. Alright. Time to resume. So like I said, this is resuming the game from the halfway point, most likely. There will be spoilers, I suppose. This is basically the end of the game. I'm gonna be on this probably for 3 hours. So, you know. I haven't actually seen 18.5's stuff yet, no. I know there's a Steam page up, and I know it has the title theme. But the game, I'm probably playing the game on Monday anyway, if it comes out in time. I won't be able to read it, which is a shame, so hopefully Hawkeye is here and he can translate the cards for me on the spot. He might be playing it himself, though. Or asleep. But yeah, I'm going to try and play it as soon as I can, because I do want to listen to the music. And even though I won't understand the plot or be able to read the cards, it's still cool to play. Still cool. Well, it's supposed to come out. It's supposed to come out over the weekend, right? Because Comic-Con is this weekend. So I'm just assuming that the Steam version will be live come Monday. Either way, I'm just gonna play it as early as I can, because I do want to play it. I'm pretty excited for it. I like that the game got announced and we only had to wait like 3 weeks to play it. There are definitely some skeptical people right now that assume it's not going to be good, but I think that's just the nature of anything, any series. Whenever a new game is announced, there's always somebody who's like, it's not going to be as good as X. And it's like, well, thanks for giving it a chance. But unfortunately, there are some series that have not exactly shown that they are well prepared to release new games. And a lot of the times, the suspicions and concerns of these negative people aren't exactly unfounded. That's all. But I think as far as Touhou goes, I don't think Touhou's ever really had... I was about to say a lie. I was about to lie to the stream. I was about to say I don't think Touhou's had any pretty rocky video games in recent years. And then immediately my brain was like, oh, 17.5 went off swimmingly. Oh, 16.5 was a hit with the kids. Like, you know what I mean? The spin-off games have been on a bit of a, 15.5 was good, and then 16.5 was like if you when Sisyphus drops the boulder, and then 17.5 is Sisyphus is currently pushing the boulder, and now 18.5 is either going to be Sisyphus gets back to the top of the mountain with the boulder, or he dropped the boulder again. You absolute dumbass. We're gonna see. All right, ready? We're gonna start. I has been sighing for the last 3 minutes because I haven't hit the button yet. Sorry, Aya. Let's go. If you keep sighing like that, people will start taking you for an old granny. A true Violet Detector moment. Look, man, I don't think any game could be as bad as Violet Detector was. I really, really don't think so. And it's not Twilight Frontier, so most of the concerns with 17.5 likely won't be a factor either. So really, I'm just hoping that it's a good game, because, well, I hope that someone put a lot of time into it and that it's fun. I just don't really know how the game works. That's all. Some people probably have a better idea because they can read the language or they watch the trailer or whatever reason. But yeah, I'm just kind of going to go in blind, and I guess I'll just have to get some help as I go. You may get into the office at this hour, and this is the first thing you have to say. Sorry I'm late. Good morning. Hey, chat. Do you think there'll be a Jun card? Asking for a friend. I don't see what's so good about it. Is something wrong? It's rare to see you this gloomy. Is it that surprising? It is. I thought you were the type to never let anything get you down. It's not like that. I've got plenty of worries of my own, too. Well, what's on your mind this time? I'm sure you've guessed it already. It's about yesterday's trial. No, I already... Listen, you may be thinking like, wow, gee, Dylan, there you go. Just looking for any reason to talk about the character. But hear me out, alright? Jun's ability is her ability to simultaneously gather money and also, like, lose money. So she would be the kind of card that... Jun would be the kind of card where there is a risk to it. Where when you have it, it's a passive that makes more money. It's a passive that makes enemies drop more money. However, the player... I don't think you lose... Do you lose money when you get hit in that game? I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but... the idea is if you get more money when you from enemies, but you lose more money when you get hit. So it's a bit of a, it's a high risk, high reward kind of card. So if you play good, you get a lot of money and you can go crazy. But if you play bad, then you have no money and your run dies. That is the Yorigami special. I'm sure you already guessed it. It's about yesterday's trial. That might have been the biggest uproar we've seen in that court so far, huh? I went after Yoma with all I had until midway through, but I regret it a little now. No, I don't think, not bleed money. No, because if you bleed money, then you're at the mercy of when enemies show up, which is just kind of like, eh. I think it's better if it's only a penalty if you get hit. So you make more money when you play well, and it's kind of like, I think it's Sanyo's card, or is it Momoyo's card? Momoyo's card makes it so every time you cap a spell card, or the longer you play without getting hit, the stronger you become, or something like that. So it's a card that rewards you for playing good, but also can punish you for playing bad. So it's a very risky card, but it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to have a card like that, because it's one of those cards that you pick up if you're confident, but it can make or break a run. Because if you make more money, you can now buy more expensive cards, right, and have a crazy run. But if you fuck up, then you can't buy any cards and your run is dead. That kind of thing. Maybe I was the one who was too rash. You did kind of go off of the deep end back then. Now, remember that card I mentioned earlier in the week? It's a card that's just in a language you can't read, and it just kills you. That's it. The card just does get fucked idiot. So if you buy the card that you can't read, it just takes a life from you. And it's just there to punish people for playing the game in a language they don't understand. That's a good card. I like that card. The Winged Dragon of Ra? Listen. Oh, wait, actually, you're right. I remember that. Yeah, Mai used the card to gain control of Ra, and then Merrick was like, "Ha, you can't read Egyptian." And then she's like, "Wait, I can't read Egyptian," and then Ra fucking exploded. What kind of bullshit was that? I couldn't help it when I started thinking I wouldn't be able to break that story because of her. Miss Shimemaru, are you in? Ah, sounds like you have a guess. Yes, I'm right here. Thank goodness, I could meet with you in time. Oh, it's Miss Iku. What brings you here? It's the young heiress. Well, remember, Joey was going to beat Merrick because Merrick attacked him, but Merrick didn't drain his life points. He just used his hologram, by the way, to attack Joey, and Joey was like critically injured. And then when Merrick was like, "Ha ha ha, I've destroyed you," and Joey was like, "Nyeh," and he was like getting ready to declare an attack, Merrick was like, "Oh shit, I should have just drained his life points instead of trying to like kill him, and then I would have won the duel." And then Joey faints because Joey's not allowed to be the hero. I don't like that scene. You know why I don't like that scene? It's because Merrick makes a really stupid play, and then he pretty much loses as a result of it, but then he wins by a technicality. And it's like, oh shit, could you imagine if the series just ended with Joey beating Merrick? No King of Games, no 1,000-year blood rivalry, none of that bullshit. Just some kid from Brooklyn who's got a lot of heart and a lot of spunk just defeats the ancient Egyptian evil without an Egyptian god card. Do you have any idea how great that would be? That would be so great if Joey won there. Because Kaiba and Yugi can still do their big cinematic duel or whatever, but then Joey would be like, "Yeah, you," and then he has the Winged Dragon of Ra, but he can't read it. But then Yami's like, "Don't worry, Joey, I'll read it for you," and then he can use the card's effects. And then we have the final chapter of the Battle City arc. It's just a friendly duel between Joey and Yugi. There you go. It's the young heiress. Is Tenchi doing all right? She has been dismissed as attorney. Eh? Oh yeah, because she falsified evidence, so she's being harshly punished. What? So I stormed out on my own. Please take a breath and explain from the beginning. Yes, of course. So what's this about Tenchi being dismissed? Miss Shimemaru, you know of everything that has come about in yesterday's trial, do you not? Yes, that's right. Then you must already know of the fabricated evidence the young heiress presented as well. And this is the reason why? Yes, another letter from Lady Aki arrived earlier this morning, discharging Lady Hinanaya as defense attorney. And who will be replacing her? That is yet to be decided. Wait, but the trial is still on today? And that is why I have come. You mean, Miss Shimemaru, I am here to beseech you to succeed the young heiress in leading the defense. Lady Hinanai's efforts and Miss Satori's words, I will not allow them to go to waste. So I beg of you, you are the only one with whom I could entrust the will of the young heiress. But I'm the plaintiff. Please, you must come to Yomu's aid. You know, this all began because I accused Yomu. I understand that, but who will save her if you will not? There is no one but you who we can turn to now. Yeah. For now, please raise your head, Iku. Ever since I woke up today, I felt like I've been doing something awful, and it was all for nothing. Miss Shimemaru, if I made a mistake, I have to set it right. If I really am your last hope, I can't refuse you. Do you know what Joey would do? Joey would play, he would play Raw. Raw would come out in that fucking egg form, and Yugi be like, but Joey, you can't use it like that. And then Joey be like, Time Wizard! And then he'll roll the good luck Time Wizard and fast forward 1,000 years. And in 1,000 years, Raw's just like, yeah, fuck this, and then gets out of his egg. And now Joey can now use the Wing Dragon Raw. Meanwhile, Merrick is just like, Merrick's just chilling over on the sidelines being like, how the fuck? How he do? How this boy so strong? Because Time Wizard beats everything. And if I really am your last hope, I can't refuse you. Then, I'll do it. I'll take on Yomu's defense. I'll take over for Tenchi and see this through to the end. I cannot thank you enough. For now, our evidence is still in Lady Hinanai's keeping, so please make haste to heaven and collect it. Why don't she come here? I can't just go into heaven. You may leave smoothing over the formalities to me. I understand. And with that said, I will take my leave. Is this really going to be alright? I don't know, but these are the seeds I've been sowing. So it's up to me to do the reaping. Okay, I'll be with you all the way too. Then let's get our preparations in order. Boom Boom article draft was crumpled up and tucked away. A Boom Boom Metal newspaper draft covering the Hot Springs vandalized sign yet to be issued presents a theory that singles out Koichi as the perpetrator. Alright. Now that I think about it, there's still one thing I'd like you to clear up. What is it? You thought you'd found out who the culprit in that broken sign incident was, didn't you? But in the end, were you correct after all? Of course I was. From the very beginning, I thought that Koichi must have been the culprit. Why were you so sure? It was because it seemed so senseless. That was the stumbling block for everyone else. But from my perspective, that became a clue. I should have known. If I worked this in, I knew I could write an article better than anyone else's. Then you were sabotaged, so that it wouldn't be known that Koichi was the culprit? But it sounds like both Satori and Koichi have an alibi for that, and so the mystery deepens. That's true. Oh boy, I'm off to heaven. 11:10 heaven. What a curious sight. Alright. A brooding Tenchi Hinanai. Maybe I should take a picture for the paper. If you want to start a fight, try somewhere else. Oh no, I didn't come here to start a fight. I'm here to take one on. And you're still talking crazy. Did Miss Iku not tell you about this? Hold on, chat, is this legal? Are you allowed to take up the role as defense attorney when you are the plaintiff? Isn't that what you call a conflict of interest? Like, surely that's illegal, right? Did Miss Iku not tell you about this? Iku? She flew out this morning and never came back. She must have gone to negotiate with the Yama then. Just what has gotten into you, all of you? That would be the fight I've come to take on. Yomu's defense. Yomu's defense? What, you don't mean you... That's right, I'll take over Yomu's case for you. Take over? You're the plaintiff! That has nothing to do with it anymore. Once you turn everything over to me, I'll be Yomu's attorney. That's all that matters now. That's not how this works. You can't do that. That's illegal. Passing the baton. Actually, you know what? It would be would it be legal if I entrusted Momiji to it? Because Momiji is not she's related to the plaintiff, but she's not the plaintiff. But I guess it would still be conflict of interest, right? What if Momiji gets to be the star of the show instead? Well, the whole point of jury duty is to select people who have no affiliation with the involved people in the case, right? The idea is everything needs to be impartial, right? Can I really trust you with this, Aya? After hearing your defense yesterday, I had to change my mind. Like you said, Yomu couldn't have been the culprit. I was the one who did her wrong. Anyone's judgment can go awry if they lose their head. So I don't think you've done wrong. You only needed to pull yourself together. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, chat. So, wait a minute. So, what if, so the plaintiff can't be a defense attorney. That makes sense. But in this case, if Aya just doesn't press charges against Yomu, isn't there just no case anymore anyway? So, how is this gonna work? Like, Aya doesn't believe Yomu did it anymore, so Aya has no reason to press charges against her. So there's no longer a case to be had here. Like, the case is over and done with. We don't need to prove Yomu did anything because there's no charges being presented. What? I don't know much about law, but even like this sounds kind of silly to me. Tenshi, if this is how you really feel now, it should be fine. Very well then, I'll have you take up my sword. Use this and help Yomu in my stead. Thank you. Receive the court record from Tenshi. Everything in there is 100% authentic, so don't worry about a thing. I wasn't worrying about that from the beginning. Still, it's my fault this is being pushed on you. It's like what you just told me, Tenshi, that I haven't done wrong. So I won't blame you either. You wanted to help, but the evidence you had wasn't going to be enough. Well, they want to find Aya's papers. Well, no, but the thing is, the whole reason this is even a court thing is because Aya filed a complaint, right? But if Aya, the person who is the direct victim of this, it was just like, yeah, I don't want to press charges against Yomu, then the case would cease to exist, right? I'm not saying she doesn't want to find the truth of the matter, but like, you know, she very clearly, if she's defending Yomu, then she doesn't believe Yomu stole her papers, so there's no longer a case in that regard, right? So, how can she still be on trial as a this fucking game? You wanted to help Yomu, but the evidence you had wasn't going to be enough. Even when there's no hard proof, you can still draw out the truth and create a chance through testimony. But Satori was going to be your opponent. Those kinds of mind games wouldn't fly. That's what I was thinking when I forged evidence. It's alright, Tenshi. I'll finish all this for good. Please do. This is your show now. Just this once, I'll behave myself and watch quietly from the sidelines. So this is one trial I really can't afford to lose in many ways. Well, somebody's gotta go to jail. Mr. Wright, I see you've proven your client innocent, but have you found the murderer? So Koichi was the culprit if I'd known that earlier. I'm very sorry about that, but exclusive material like this is life itself to a reporter. Well, I already knew that newspaper of yours is much more important to you than I am. Maybe some meekness would have gone over better. Do I have anything else? I don't think so. That's the real piece. There it is, the reason I can't be a lawyer anymore. You say that, but in reality it was actually something that looks exactly like this. I had a hard time making it, you know, and in the end it all amounted to nothing. But now I've taken up your mantle. Right, I'll leave it to you now. Alright. So what happened last time was... Apparently Koichi is the one who broke the sign, and Yomu is still on trial for stealing the papers, but after the result of the court day, it's no longer clear who stole the papers. Yomu's still a suspect, but the thing is, Satori and Koichi were suspects because of the material of the paper incriminating them for breaking the sign, but both of them have alibis. Both of them have alibis to where they were during the time that the papers were stolen, so it couldn't be either of them, which is confusing because those are the only two who stand to gain anything from doing that because they apparently broke the sign. Koichi broke the sign and Satori was covering for her. So Koichi is going to stand trial for breaking the sign, but there seems to be more going on to this case than meets the eye. There's definitely some kind of like third party involved who's pulling all the strings. There's got to be. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. Holding cell number 1. How you doing, Yomu? Aya? Please don't act so guarded. I haven't come to force a confession out of you or anything. Rather, it's the opposite. Sounds complicated? I think I just did a piss poor job of explaining it. But the court the court day was 2 hours long getting through all of that, and the investigation was 1. It's the last case, so it's a bit convoluted, just a little bit. The opposite. You must have heard about Miss Tenshi being forbidden from taking part in the trial already. Yes, Sakuya told me as much earlier. I will be taking over the defense in her stead. What? You? Well, it's no wonder you'd be surprised, but I promise you I regret it now. Dragging you before the court like this. Then you'll believe me? Naturally. Besides, you have Satori's endorsement. Aya. And so I hope we can work together if you'll have me. It is I who should say so. I like Yomu's art in this game. I like that her hair is a little bit longer than usual. She doesn't have a silly bowl cut. Not to say the silly bowl cut isn't, like, perfect. But I like the wavy bit in the back of her head. For now, could you go over everything you know about that paper you used one more time? I like the looser hairstyle. On that night, I had gone out on some business, and when I returned to Hakigokudo, I found holes in one of our shoji doors. I thought I should fix it then and there, and went to our storehouse to look for paper I could use. And as it happened, there was a bundle of paper. So you used that to repaper the shoji? Yes. And that was when I came in. I swear I never could have dreamed that paper had come from your office. Well, there'd be no reason for you to think so. Still, it really would make no sense to steal paper just to fix up your shoji. I'll ask just in case, but you have no idea what tore that shoji to begin with, do you, Yomu? No, I apologize. It was already like that when I came back. When she came back, I should ask her about what she was doing, come to think of it. I think Tenchi left a note in the court record. Yeah, what was she doing? We still don't know what she went out to find. Yomu, on that night, you only left Hakigokudo once, didn't you? Yes. You said in court you had to go look for something, but what was it exactly? I cannot say. It surely wasn't related to the case. But your whereabouts that night are related to the case. Even if you say that, I flew to many places throughout Gensokyo. So she won't be telling me anything new. What were you looking for? Tell me your secrets. Awful stain, just seeing it makes my blood boil. Do stains really get you that worked up? When it comes to doing laundry, I am without equal. The stains I cannot scrub out are next to none. Was that really necessary? That was very necessary. Thank you, Yomu. Holding cell 2. Wow, it looks exactly the same. Can I have a moment, Koichi? Yeah. Koichi could just wander out of here. It's been a while. I'm Aya Shimemaru, the lawyer. Ah, you're the lawyer who helped Sis back then. What do you need me for? Are you going to take my case? I'm sorry, right now I am Yomu's attorney. Oh, right. Someone did say that Celestial was sacked. Koichi, I think your case is connected to what took place in my office. Could you tell me your account of it? It's fine, but I can't really tell you much. I was unconscious. Still, you might know something. Well, if that's okay with you, I don't mind. Oh, we have the sad music again. That day I had gone to the hot spring bath with Sis. but I fell unconscious in the middle of it. And I don't remember what happened after at all. Nothing at all? Nothing at all. Yep, honestly, I don't know if I went out or not. It might be a bit of a stupid question, but what is it? Koichi, can you still get dressed even when unconscious? Sure, that's not a problem at all. The more something is a habit of yours, the easier it is to do it unconsciously. Oh god, if that's not true. Holy shit. I put on clothes like these every day, so it's the kind of thing I'd have to do if I was unconscious. I see. But it might be a bit tougher to put on a strange outfit, for instance. Even then, putting on clothes pretty much always goes about the same way, so it's not too much of a problem. It doesn't sound like there's anything to be found here after all. Koichi is a very pitiful character, yeah. She's a very sad existence. But she tries her best to be what she is, I suppose. It's hard, I think it's hard to look at Koichi sometimes. When you think about how the circumstances to her existence, like the circumstances that surround her existence, it's hard not to look at her with a look of sadness, pity to her. This arrange is fantastic for the character, though. I've never been much of a Koichi fan myself. She just doesn't do much for me, and there are aspects to her in fandom that I've never really cared much for. But I gotta say, the character herself is very, very interesting because there are a lot of things about her that I think are, as I said, just kind of sad. There's not a lot of characters like that you look at them and you just feel that way about them. Koichi elicits an emotion of sadness. However, Koichi's, overall attitude and expressions, she's very upbeat and positive in a strange way. In a way that really kind of makes you feel something, Maybe I'm alone on that, but I've never really been a massive Koichi fan, but I respect the aspects of her character because I do think that she's pretty interesting in that regard. Still, I can't help but feel bad for her. You just gotta, you can't let fandom ruin too much for characters, right? I'm just not really a fan of, I'm not a fan of the psycho murder persona of some characters. There's that Koichi comic, that one comes to mind. Koichi, for me, has always been a character who just, she did what she did to escape the pain and hatred that she constantly felt around her. And the result was very tragic. And her sister is the only one who could really understand. Her sister is like the only one who truly understands what it was that drove Koichi to do what she did. And so Satori really worries about her sister's state of being. Koichi also came very close to just blipping out of existence at some point without the Mask of Hope involved. Yeah, the sad aspect of Koichi's character is the one that I like the most. The idea of her character being so blissfully unaware of the negatives, the negative aspects of life, because she intentionally shut her eye so she'd no longer have to see it. She closed her eyes to the truth of the world, in a sense. She no longer sees things like the negative emotions that cause so much grief and pain for her. And now she enjoys life with her brain effectively. Her not turned off, mind you, but like she now runs through life with a smile on her face, blissfully unaware of the darker aspects of the world. And you can't help but look at that and think, damn. She lobotomized herself as a Satori. Yeah, I don't think she knew that closing her third eye would be the same as closing off her entire, mind. So, the effect of closing her eye had a greater effect on her than I think any of them expected. And as a result, she is what she is. This is a great excuse to just listen to this arrange, by the way. It really is. But yeah, no, Koichi is a good character. Koichi's a good character. Koichi has really cool patterns as well. Cool patterns that's are based around psychology and whatnot. I really like them. She's just not the kind of character that I like for various reasons, but it's not like I dislike her. I said it before, but the way I feel about Koishi is exactly the way that she is interpreted in canon. She is a yokai who can no longer be hated, but as a result, she can no longer be loved either. She's a yokai caught in the middle of it all. It's very sad, as I've said multiple times. It's very sad. She's a very sad character. Probably the saddest character in the series, when you think about it. There are definitely some characters who had a real rough of it, though. I feel bad for Junko. Junko had a real rough of it, for sure. But I'd say Koishi is probably the most tragic character in the series. Her and her sister. The Satoris. Alright, let's resume the game now. Just in case, can you tell me where the clothes you wore that day might be now? They should be back at Chiriden. Yeah, so this thing... Okay, so... The thing about Shion is another character who's very tragic, yes. But I think what sets Koishi apart from all the other tragic characters is her attitude nowadays. So when you see Shion, obviously, like, you know, she's Shion. So you look at her and you're like, oh, you poor thing, right? But... with Koishi, the feeling of pity and sadness towards her, she doesn't really understand it, you know? Like, it's like looking at a child who doesn't really understand the gravity of a situation they find themselves in. You know, I don't want to say like an extreme example or anything like that, but like I just think of it like that, like trying to break heavy news to a child. Like that's the kind of sadness I think you feel when you look at Koishi, when you see the way she acts and you know what it is that caused her to be the way she is. That's I think is what I would say is the best way to describe the feeling of sadness towards the character. The kind where it's just absolutely heartbreaking to just like you can't really say anything to them, you know? Their innocence is at an all-time high. That kind of, you know what I mean? Am I making sense? Of course, she also brought it upon herself too. Yeah. Yeah. They should be back at Chiriden. I'm sure Sis would show you if you asked. Understood. But are my clothes actually important? Well, it's just in case. Alright. Peep this. Sorry, I don't know anything. I ain't saying nothing. Johnny Loose Lips. Tell me. Oh, I broke that, didn't I? Well, we all have days like that. You're not helping, Aya. I guess showing her this was never going to help. Sorry. Ah, that's Sis's. Yes, that's right. Satori's clothes. Is something wrong, Koishi? No, I just felt like something was coming back. Must have been my imagination. I wonder what exactly goes on in her head. I think that's everything. Alright, yep. Time to return to Hakugokudo. There were a lot of areas to explore. Well, I got plenty of time, chat, so, you know, I'm not rushing or anything. That's why I had the time to talk about Koishi there. But, you know, there's still plenty of time. It's only 6:42. I got 3 hours on top of what I've already done. Oh, welcome. There is nothing for you here, but feel free to take a load off. A carefree welcome for you, as usual. Even if I worked myself up into a fluster, it wouldn't help anyone at all. I want to strike back, but I can't find a contradiction. You should take a moment to slow down and gaze at the sky once in a while, too. You might discover a whole new Gensokyo. I'll try it once I'm off duty. But duty is something people burden themselves with on their own, is it not? Particularly in your case. I want to strike back when I can't find a contradiction. The night of the incident, you were here the whole time, weren't you, Lady Yiko? That's correct. If Yomo is to be believed, the paper from my office she found in your storehouse must have been placed there by someone else that night. Which would mean someone trespassed in Hakugokudo to do this. Did you not notice any sign of them last night? Oh no, even if someone came, I might not have noticed. After all, I was in my room most of the time. But then how did you know that Yomo came back and didn't leave again? That girl is half phantom, so my sixth sense warned me. Phantoms may be able to go unseen, but there are things you can feel precisely because they cannot be seen. I suppose we'll have to take your word for it. But then the intruder was definitely someone alive. Sure, but that doesn't narrow things down much. I'm sorry I couldn't be of more help to you. Well, that can't be helped. It'll have to do. The culprit was probably alive. Ace detective right there. That thing Yoma went looking for, do you have any idea what it was? Well now, I would like to know myself. Really? You don't know? Alright, bye. Bye, idiot. Everybody listening, how do you do? What the hell was that? Could it be the great king of terror finally passing into fantasy? I don't know if even Rainbow can face down such a foe. Messiah, did you come listen to my vocal workout? I should have known. It was you all along. You're the same as ever, Kyoko. I have to make sure I put in the work since this voice of mine is my most charming characteristic. More like it's your only characteristic. Don't be mean to her. So then once more with feeling. Wait a minute. I need to ask you some questions first. Questions? And if you could turn down the volume. I will not! Please don't just shut me down with a smile. At the time of the incident at the hot spring, there were only 3 people bathing there, including you. I just unplugged my headphones. Whoops. Hold on. Hold on. Got it. That's right! Well, it all happened a bit late at night, so that's just how it was. And you only witnessed Satori leaving the one time. Yes! I witnessed it spot on! But you didn't ever see Koichi leave the bath? No. Actually, before I knew it, I couldn't find her anymore! It must have been because she slipped into unconsciousness like everyone thought. Sounds like it. That's some amazing power of stealth she has! I think she herself has something like a complex about it. Is that so? No matter how hard I try, I can't ever seem to hide from anybody. Maybe she can teach me her tricks next time. If you could stop shouting, that might be a step in the right direction. Tell me about... Oh no! Even if you show me, I don't really know! I like that sound effect because it just sounds like Kyoko's throwing a punch at me. Those are some of Miss Satori's clothes. So they are. Messiah, are you actually one of those costume players I've been hearing about? Please don't say things people are gonna misunderstand, or at least don't be so loud. Catch these evidence. Right here. Evidence of a... I'll give you some evidence. Evidence of a beatdown. Bop, bop, bop. It's been rent asunder. Please don't rend our eardrums asunder to match. I beg of you. What do you mean? I'm begging you to please be quiet. That's it. Oh my god, dude, there's so many... There's so many places I have to move to. Alright. Ack. Oh, if it isn't Aya. What you doing in a place like this? I'd ask you the same, but it's no surprise a carrion eater like you would be picking through trash here. Damn! We're just not even wasting any time with the banter. Who's a carrion eater? And that's right here is a proper newspaper I'm distributing. It's not trash. Don't you know what a newspaper is? It's a publication where reporters like me print recent noteworthy stories. I know how to say this word. I've said it before. Colloquially called news. I think I got it. A collection of days-old gossip you've heard secondhand doesn't deserve to be called a newspaper. Ugh, shut up! Shut up! Like you ever write anything true in your rag. What was that? Now, please settle down. The squawking chicken insults me to my face and you're telling me to just settle down? I didn't say that. For now, may I have one, please? Oh, you want to read my paper? That's why it's so timely, us meeting in here. Right. I know you're a reasonable girl, Momiji. Nothing like some other Tengu I know. Peh! It's not like you'd ever listen to reason. Come on, Aya, enough. Here you go, Momiji. Thank you very much. Momiji has received the Kakashi Spirit News. The latest issue of Hatate's newspaper published April 22nd. Its main claim to fame is in pictures taken after the fact, using her power of thoughtography. Like always, it's all old news. Pah! I'm still better off than some sitting duck who can't publish anything because they're too busy playing a lawyer. What was that? Seriously, just settle down, both of you. Good band. So you've been looking into this incident too. Right now, the only stories we're talking about in All Against Sokyo are this vandalized sign and the case of the paper stolen from your office. So, every journalist around has been writing about it, me included. How'd you first hear the incident here, Miss Hatate? I was actually flying about from place to place that night on the lookout for a story. I noticed there was some kind of disturbance around here, and when I went to have a look, you found yourself at the scene of the crime. I guess so. Even though you were a shut-in until not too long ago. That's got nothing to do with anything. Please wait a second, Miss Hatate. What's up? By using your thoughtography, couldn't you get pictures of the culprit in the act? That's true. We have a pretty good idea of when the moment of the incident was. Obviously, I thought of that, and I do have pictures of some figure, but, photographs of night scenes don't come out too well. Everything's dark and it happens so fast they're blurry, and you can't tell who's in them at all. So they're useless in every way that matters. Give me a break. I don't want to hear that from you. Anyway, it sounds like trying to find the culprit this way isn't going to work. Well, that case is pretty much wrapped up already with Koichi found out. So there's no point in standing around here listening to her chirping any further. I can't believe you go around flaunting your notebook like this. Feh! You just say that because you don't even have a notebook to flaunt at people. That's not it at all. Huh? Did I actually hit the bullseye? I enjoy the relationship between these two characters. There's good bant. I'll just ask, is it okay for me to read this? No, you can't. Then why are you showing it to me? That's a really good question. Why did I show it to her? I've got nothing to say to you. Hey, wait, she was saying that to Tenchi. Doing something like this wouldn't do anyone any good. And that's the reason Koichi was found out at the end. When you think about it like that, her being the culprit's an obvious conclusion. I noticed from the beginning, you know. It's not like I gave you that so I could hear your thoughts or anything. I get it. My office is short on paper of all kinds right now, so this could go towards restocking the washroom. What? Well, I'm just kidding, of course. Good bant, good bant. Surely she's got something to say about the clothes, right? Everyone has had something to say about the clothes. Oh, Never mind, she's got nothing to say to me. Let's go to the hot springs first. Present the Kakashi spirit news to Momiji. Okay, I can do that before I go to Chiriden. Oh, there's nobody here. The perpetrator of the incident here is under arrest now, so I guess the police are all busy preparing for the trials. Oh well, there's no reason to linger if no one's around. Right, let's go look somewhere else. Alright, let's go home. Well, it's true that there's nothing in Miss Hatate's articles about the case that we didn't already know. It's because she relies too much on that thoughtography of hers that her work turns out like this. But taking away thoughtography from Miss Hatate would be like taking away her entire identity. Sometimes it feels like you're even fiercer than I am. Yeah. She's right, though. She is right when you think about it. Because Hatate is a Tengu, and there's tons of Tengu. So if Hatate didn't have her special brand of news reporting, she wouldn't really be her own character, you know? She would just be a background Tengu. It's been some time since I last came here. That's right. It's also been a while since we last met with Satori. Since the incident half a year ago, you mean? The unconscious played a big part in that too, didn't it? True. Come to think of it, it feels like the incident now has a lot in common with that other one. Are you sure you're not just overthinking it? I wonder. Welcome to the interior. Sorry for the intrusion, Satori. Oh, Aya, it's been quite a while, hasn't it? It has, since that incident. That's right, I still have yet to repay you for the kindness you showed me back then. Oh, it was nothing. But I would like to hear your story for now, if it's not too much trouble. Of course, ask and I'll answer anything I can. About your actions at the time of the incident, may I have the definitive version in order? Yes, I've been telling so many lies, it's no wonder you would be confused. That evening, Koichi and I visited the hot spring above together. After having been in the bath some time, I felt the need to use the restroom, so I returned to the changing room. So you really only needed to go to the restroom? Yes, to begin with, until I found the broken piece, I had no idea that there had been any incident. Well, that is true. So when I went to get dressed and pulled out our basket, I found that Koishi's clothes were now above mine. While I wondered at this, I noticed that the skirt's pocket was bulging, and that was where you found a piece of the sign. Yes, so I ran outside to confirm whether the sign had truly been smashed to pieces. It must have been at the time that paint from one of the splinters on the ground got on my skirt. At any rate, I knew for certain that when I found it was part of the broken sign. So you wanted to just place it back there and leave. Yes, that way no one else would have to know that Koichi had taken it in the first place. But right at that moment, someone came near. And you don't know who that was. I do not. I lost my nerve and fled as fast as I could. Really? But? When they stumbled upon the scene, they let out a cry. It's quite faint, but I feel it was a voice I've also heard somewhere recently. A voice. So what did you do after fleeing the scene? First, I went to the restroom, and then I began worrying about what to do with the piece of sign I'd found. In the end, I hid it behind the shelf in front of me, and you went back to the bath like nothing happened. Yes, that's all. Hearing this, it doesn't sound like anyone but Koichi could have been the culprit. Incidentally, where are the clothes Koichi was wearing at the time of the incident? They should be in her room. It might be useful to have them on hand just in case, so could you let me see them? It's no trouble. Give me a moment. Sorry to have kept you waiting. These should be it. Thank you very much. If there's any other way I can help you, then please do not hesitate to ask. I'll be sure to keep that in mind. Koichi's clothes have been received. Koichi was wearing these clothes on the day of the incident. It doesn't look like there's anything odd about these. Right? No stains or dirt or anything. Well, I washed them yesterday just to be safe. But paint would not come out in the wash. So at the very least, Koichi didn't get any paint on her clothes that night. What now, Aya? Well, since we're already here, there's one more thing I want to confirm with Satori. I'll bring out the evidence. You know me so well. The evidence? Ah, come to think of it. Something wrong? Yes, there was something I forgot to mention. So there's more. Well, thinking carefully, it's no great mystery. My clothes were a little damp. Damp? When I put on my own clothes back then, I could feel they were a bit damp here and there. Like someone had been touching them with wet hands. So what you're saying is someone left the hot spring and handled your clothes without drying off properly? That seems to be the case. In order to get dressed, Koichi would have to move my clothes aside so she could get her to her own. So there's really nothing mysterious about it. On the contrary, this is just further proof that Koichi went back to the changing room before you. Yes, that might be important evidence in her case. And I should make note of it. Found and treated a large black paint stained Satori found someone had left wet handprints on them that evening. Well, I think we've heard everything Satori can tell us. Then we should see what we can find elsewhere. Satori, thank you for speaking with us. Oh no, I should be thanking you for your hard work. Me. Do you truly think this could become a clue? I cannot say at present. Is that right? At least there's no telling whether Koichi is guilty or not just by looking at these clothes. I'm sorry, but nothing comes to mind. Alright, bye. Can I go to the courtyard? No, I can't. Check this shit out. Let's try Koichi. Oh, some of my clothes. Yes, we borrowed them from your sister. Is that going to help you? Chad, I have an important question. Do you think the Touhou characters buy their clothes? Or do you think they all make them themselves? Or do you think they hire someone to custom make their outfits because they only ever seem to have like one outfit and small variations of said outfit? Because when you think about it, 99% of the clothes these characters wear are just like, where would you even get your hands on something like this? Someone's got to be making them. Imagine a character like that shows up. A tailor shows up and it's like, yeah, I've made everyone's clothes in Gensokyo. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of a big deal. Since this is what you wore on the day of the incident, I thought it'd hold some clue. Fairies are born with clothes and you cannot convince me otherwise? Well, think of it like this as well. When Suika grows in size, her clothes expand with her, right? So, her clothes are like a special alloy that doesn't tear when she grows. So I wonder what that's about. It also shrinks with her too. Isn't that kind of weird? Do you think that's an exclusive thing to her outfit? Or do you think it's just any clothes that she wears will shrink or grow with her? I actually wonder about that. Why am I wondering about this? Well, I don't know. But usually when characters get big, their clothes rip and tear, right? But I guess in Suika's case, they adjust to her size. Yeah, Shimmy is the same way. Shimmy's outfit grows with her as well. Suika can shrink and grow things herself, can she not? I don't think so. I don't think Suika has the ability to increase the size of other things. She can manipulate density, but I don't think she can really, like, make other things grow. Because the whole, I don't really know, though. You'd have to double check that. But I'm pretty sure Suika could only increase or decrease her own size. But she can't just, like, increase the size of other things. Unless that's something that she can do that's never been talked about or explored, because... well, I don't know. Yeah, everything grows with her. All of it. The whole outfit. The ribbon, the chains, all of it. So this is what you wore on the day of the incident. I thought it'd hold some clue. I'd say that, but the truth is it's just a hunch. Alice said she makes her dolls' clothes. Yeah, well, those are dolls. Suika can create things instead of the omake. You have to double check that, because I don't remember that detail. I want to say you're right. I want to say you're right. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't remember. I don't remember clear enough to give a definitive answer. I'd say that, but the truth is it's just a hunch. Manipulating density is how she changes her own size as well. Well, I know that, yeah. I know that. That's how she changes her size. The thing is, according to Suika, like, when Suika increases in size, it doesn't actually change her weight. Like, her mass stays the same, but her size changes. Which, when you think about it, is kind of interesting. So that would mean that a small Suika weighs as much as a big Suika, right? To make something less dense, either its volume or mass has to change. Do you think that's why she wears chains? She wears chains so when she grows big, she just float away like a fucking balloon. But no, if her actual mass doesn't change depending when she changes her size or her weight, so that means that when Suika turns massive, I can pick her up just as easily as if she hadn't changed at all. However, when she's like palm-sized, she's still as heavy as if she was normal-sized. That's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I say that, but the truth is just I've said that line. I've read that line like 3 times now. Whoops. Alright. Let's try... Heaven? No. 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 Maybe you will. Those are some of Miss Satori's sister's clothes. You can tell just from a glance? I think anyone could. Can't you tell just from a glance, Messiah? She does have a point. All the people we meet wear very distinctive clothes. Okay, alright. Found the way to go. Oh, it's my pal Tengu. Long time no see. Hello, it's been a while. I'm guessing today's been rough for you too. Well, it is kind of unprecedented. You can say that again. It's the same for us. The sign we put out gets destroyed and then people start saying Miss Koishu did it. I just don't know what's what anymore. Alright. I'm begging you, pal. You gotta help little Miss Koishi. I want to help you more than you know, but right now I have to be Yomu Konpaku's attorney. That's so. Well, nothing you can do about that. Orin really seems to be taking this hard. It's customary that every time she says the word that, you replace TH with a D. It's customary. You can't ignore the rules. By the way, we heard Koishi's trial is supposed to start as soon as Yomu's ends. But as you can see, Aya's handling Yomu's case and Miss Tenchi can't be a lawyer as things stand. So who's gonna be defending Koishi? That was good. So who's gonna be defending Koishi? That's what I'm worried about too. I've been asking the police for answers, and they just tell me that they're looking into it. Seems like they're having a hard time finding somebody who'll help. But at this rate, even if they do settle on someone, it'll be right before the trial. If it turns out that way, it'll be real bad for Miss Koishi. That's how things are right now. Meow. Oh, I made myself laugh. The little miss doesn't have anybody at her side now. No one. Nobody to help her. Orin, I'm sorry. If I could take her case, you wouldn't. Don't be sorry. It's not your fault, pal. All of this Maybe it's just our lot. But Koishi's not alone, because she has Miss Satori, doesn't she? So you think, but... What's the matter? She's tripping over her words. Can't Oren just drop the charges? Yes. And in the same vein, Aya can just drop the charges against Yomu too. But if we just drop the charges, we wouldn't have much of a game anymore, huh? This entire case is... This entire case does not need to exist. Oh my god. Did something happen with Satori? It sounded like Miss Satori managed to reconnect with Miss Koishi at the end of yesterday's trial. But it's like Miss Satori is still scared of seeing her. She hasn't visited Miss Koishi even once yet. Not once! Me and Oku went to see the little miss early on our own, and it was obvious how disappointed she was. In the end, she needs a sister. Miss Satori is the only one Miss Koishi will open up for, the way she is now. Koishi doesn't have a lawyer. Oh, there goes my controller. Hold on. Let me just rectify that mistake. You know, chat, my copy of Touhou came in the mail, like, 4 days ago, and I still haven't opened it, because I'm just lazy. But it's okay, it's still in its box, nice and safe. Koishi doesn't have a lawyer, and her sister hasn't been to see her. Miss Koishi's gotta be hurting now. Shut off her heart, or not. And Miss Satori's the only one who can make it better. But now Miss Satori won't go see Miss Koishi. And I've got no idea what I should be doing. Aya, if that's how it is, then we have to go down there and change Miss Satori's mind. But today's trial... It's like you just said, pal. You've already got work only you can do. So it's not right for me to bother you with our problems like this. There's only one little time left before the trial. I should... what should I do? Check this shit out. Those are some of Miss Koishi's clothes, aren't they? Do you notice anything about them? Not really. Huh? Must just be wishful thinking. Is something wrong? Nah, it's just something about these doesn't feel like Miss Koishi somehow. Can you smell anything, Momiji? No, they just smell like soap to me. Well, it was probably just my imagination after all. There's something about them that's sussy? How sussy? Miss Satori's clothes. They're gonna be a pain to wash. Well, paint doesn't come out easily. Give me a break. Work just keeps piling up. Yeah, I haven't got a clue. So it was really little Miss Koishi who did this. But she was unconscious, so there was no ill will involved. I already know that, but I can't just accept Miss Koishi committed a crime and be happy about it, can I? I guess not. Alright, I'm leaving. Goodbye! I must return to the underground and yell at Satori. Satori, may we speak with you again? So now it's about that business. Yes, as I'm sure you figured out by now, we've come to talk about Koishi. Are you fine to talk? Yes. We heard from Oren a little while ago that you haven't visited Koishi since she was arrested. I'm still afraid of meeting with Koishi. In court yesterday, I was able to speak with her again for the first time in so long. I was so happy, it felt like a dream. But then why? In truth, I think it was because it felt like I was dreaming that I could do it. Koishi has been steadily distancing herself from me for a long time now. Maybe too long. A gap like this can't be bridged in a day. When I think of that and how sad she looked when she was with me. You know that's wrong. All of us could see how glad the both of you were to be talking again yesterday. That brings us to another part of the problem. Back then in that court, there were many other voices to fill the silence. But now inside that narrow cell, there would only be the two of us there. Me and Koishi's closed-off heart. When I think of that, I can't help but be afraid. What are you saying? Koishi's the one who must be afraid of you right now. Your sister doesn't have a lawyer to defend her yet. She has no one on her side. And if you don't go and see her, she'll feel like even her family has abandoned her. But fine, I get it. If you're too scared to go on your own, we'll take you with us. Eh? We'll drag you in, and if it goes poorly, we'll drag you out. We're going to see your sister. If fear is what's paralyzing you, you won't take the first step on your own, right? Right, I see. Let's go, Miss Satori, to Koishi's side. Yes, I'll be in your care. You know, I actually rather like the way this game has written these, the Komeiji sisters. It's nice. It's nice in a sad way. Sis? Koishi? It's really you, sis? Yes, I'm here now. You jerk! Eh? Koishi? You're a jerk, sis. A dummy. An idiot. Why didn't you come see me earlier? I've been waiting for you the whole time, sis. It felt like maybe you started hating me. Koishi, I'm sorry. I started thinking that maybe you didn't need or even want me as your sister anymore. And I was afraid to find out the truth. There's no way. I could never hate you, sis. I just didn't know if I was still fit to be your little sister. So I kept my distance from you a bit. But it wasn't because I didn't like you anymore. Yes, I really should have known. I'm so sorry I didn't understand that before now. It's okay. You've always forgiven me before for every selfish thing I've ever done. So that's why I'll forgive you too, sis. Oh, thank you. Looks like you'll be alright, Satori. Yes, I must apologize for burdening you two with even more worries. It's fine. I'm sure we'll be doing the same to you. And now it's time to worry about what comes next, isn't it? I like how much writing has gone into these two characters over the course of the last case they were involved in and this one. I enjoy that quite a lot. Now, Koishi, I'm sure you understand your own situation, but it can't be helped since I'm the culprit. But you still have the right to a defense. At least, I know there are people who still hope you can be proven innocent. When I gave myself up, you pleaded with me like this, didn't you, Aya? However, your circumstances then were very different from these. And anyway, there's only so much I can do. The maid told me that they still haven't found anyone to be my lawyer. But it's fine, since I'm guilty. We don't really need a whole trial. Don't say such a thing, that you're guilty. But you were the one who found the proof, right, sis? That shows I'm the one who did it. That might be true, but no one saw that moment. It must have been because I was unconscious. Anyway, it would be bad to leave things as is, if there isn't anyone who can defend Koishi. Even then, I'll be fine with it. You shouldn't be! This isn't fair! But if there's no lawyer, then I'll defend you myself. Miss Satori? There is no one who knows Koishi better than I do, and that is why I'll be the one to defend her. If this is what it has come to, then they'll have to accept even someone like me as a lawyer. I guess so. I think having you as her lawyer would be the best thing Koishi could ask for. Sis. Koishi, I'm sorry for everything up until now. This time I won't be turning my back on you. Okay. Thanks so much, sis. I love you. I won't forget. And always remember that your big sister loves you too, Koishi. Even if your minds are made up, I think there's still procedures to go through. Well, I'm sure they can ask Sakuya to take care of that. It won't be long until it's time for us to head to court. Then maybe we should try to speak with Yomu again while we still can? Right. I don't think she'll be telling us anything more, but there's no harm in trying. Will you allow me to accompany you? I am concerned for Yomu as well. That's fine, but we have to go right now. Sis, you're leaving? Don't worry, I'll be back in a moment. I won't be leaving you alone for long. Okay. Well, that was nice. If there's anything to take away from this case, it's definitely the relationship building between the Komeijis. Even though I've definitely poked fun at the circumstances of this case, I do think the strongest point of this case so far has been the writing of those two characters. It's been a treat. It's not like it's anything crazy, but it's still, you know, it's still nice. Aya Yomu. Why did I read Aya's name? Why did I do that? Yomu. Aya. It seems it'll be time to go soon. Right? And that is why I wanted to hear what you had to say one more time. Even so, what is there for us to still talk about? Yomu? Yes, what is it? I like the Tenchi and Satori dynamic, only because it's something actual Ace Attorney can't ever do. I agree with that. Actually, yes. The way Tenchi utilized false evidence against a character like Satori was very in character for Satori. It was very in character for Tenchi and very in universe for Satori's ability. So I actually think that last court date was very, very well done. This case, while silly on paper as a case, has had a lot of good character dynamics to it. So it's definitely a good case in that regard. I really am enjoying this one. It's only when I heard you, it jarred something in my memory. Your memory, Satori. What do you mean? I'm not sure, but there was something. What could have... Oh, that's it. That voice. Voice. You don't mean... Eh? What about my voice? I remember now. When I was at the scene, someone suddenly came by. The voice I heard then, it was yours, Yomu. Are you serious? Satori, you were at the scene of that destroyed sign shortly after the crime. I clearly heard your voice there. You must be mistaken. Yomu? I was never near that place. This had nothing to do with me. Yomu, you should already know just how meaningless it is to lie to me. At any rate, it is time. Let's go, Aya. Not so fast, Yomu. What the hell is going on? Miss Satori, can you tell the reason why Yomu is lying to us like this? Unfortunately not. That is something she wants to keep hidden deep within her heart. She fled before I could see it. Yomu, what could she still be trying to hide? She was at the scene of the sign. Oh, shit. Alright, here we go. What is she out there looking for? Well, this is awkward. That's actually true, though. Satori's mind-reading powers are actually proximity-based. Aya? What is it, Yomu? Will we be fine in today's trial? Well, I can't promise we'll be 100% fine. Is that so? Just what is Yomu trying to hide? I have no idea. But with that said, it doesn't feel like she'll be telling us. You haven't even begun and you already look ready to give up the fight. Tenchi! I handed the evidence I'd gathered over to you because I trusted in your skill. You are aware of that, I hope. Of course I am. I don't intend to lose. We are relieved to hear it. But if you do lose, I'll make you answer to me. You'll feel foolish for having ever doubted me so soon. Aya, Momiji, please work that your hardest. Yes, leave it to us. Aya, Tenchi. Don't you worry, this Tengu has never been outdone by anyone in court. The evidence you've assembled and the facts you've proven. Now that I've inherited them, I won't be defeated. I can't thank you both of you enough. It seems the time has come. Then you better get to work. I have faith in you. Right, I won't let any of you down. Yeah, so Satori's ability is mind reading, but there's a proximity to it. So Satori tries to read the mind of Yukari, who's not actually present, and she can't do it because Yukari is too far away for her to see. So what that means is it is possible to communicate with Satori without her being able to read your mind through telephones. So here's what you do. Alright, first you get a can, alright? And then you get another can. So you have two cans, okay? You got two cans. So you cut open the cans, you open the cans, and you cut a small hole at the end of each can on the other side. Alright? So then you attach a string, right? You attach a string, and you tie the knot so it won't go through the hole, and then you have two cans connected by a string. All right, so you give Satori one can, and then you take the other can, and then you run you run to a different room, okay? Then you close the door, and then you talk to Satori. And then she can't read your mind. There you go. That's how you communicate with Satori without a telephone, but also without her reading your mind. You use the can phone. It's a classic. The second session in the trial of Yomo Konpaku will now begin. Oh, you know what? I haven't read the character bios. The White Wolf Tengu, who's been my long-standing companion, outsiders to the mountain think we live together for some reason, but she always returns to her own home in the evenings, I swear. Secret rendezvous. A messenger of the Dragon Palace, Reed Orphish, who excels at reading the air. I suppose she's my friend whether I like it or not. Heaven's most selfish little princess, and yet she won't be satisfied until the work she's begun has been seen through, so she has a steadfast side as well. The work-averse fairy woman and court bailiff, today will be another hard day of coming up with an excuse not to get nothing done, no doubt. Hakigokuro's gardener is this time's defendant. I can already tell we have our work cut out for us any way you slice it. So some of these are the same. Yeah, that's the same. The Scarlet Devil Station's one and only maid detective always seems terribly overworked, but I suppose it doesn't matter to someone who can relate time itself. The cheery corpse thief tackles any task she gives with enthusiasm. The other dead people carrier can stand and learn a lesson from her. The mind reader, shunned and hated by other yokai because of her power. That might be the reason why her relationship with her sister has become warped. The girl who threw away her mind reading and was left holding the unconscious in her hand instead. Will the day ever come her eyes can open ever again? I read that wrong. The Olden Temple's newest novice, the Yamabiko, the word silence has no place in her dictionary. The Yama in hell, Your Honor, in the courtroom. When you think about it, it feels like she can't escape her work, be it this world or the next. Sickly prosecutor, although she no longer feels like it as of late, seems like her asthma's gotten better. She only used 1% of her asthma before. A Tengu reporter who uses her powers of tautography. Wait, where's her hat? What? Her trademark. Her namesake is missing from her portrait. Where's her hat? You got a spelling error? Her hat's missing? What's going on? To research her articles, having to go out is just a pain was what she used to believe. She just ate, yeah. Her hat's gone. There we go. The defense is ready. The prosecution has no delays to report. Now are you certain about this defense? Yes, I believe in Yomo's innocence. In other words, you are turning your coat. It's true you'd be within your rights to say so, but that's not important right now. Or do you feel otherwise? Oh no, you see to your duties and I'll see to mine. And if all of us will accept this arrangement, may I begin, Your Honor? Please proceed then. The greatest issue remaining at the end of yesterday's hearing was the defendant's motive. The defense has been insisting that needing the paper to fix a shoji was insufficient motive for stealing. And so today I will be proving a motive for the defendant through a different approach. And what different approach would that be? The defense brought forward the theory that the paper theft was committed because the culprit felt threatened by news coverage of the hot spring sign incident. The prosecution will accept this as a fact. But if that's the case... Yes, that is the heart of the matter, defense. Ow. In short, Yomo Konpaku was not unrelated to the hot springs vandalized sign. What? Oh, I haven't seen that face in a while. The Phoenix blowback face. Order! Are you certain of this prosecution? I will be substantiating my claim shortly, and for that purpose I would like to call the defendant as a witness first of all. How will you respond, defense? I understand. Yomu can testify as a witness. Then the defendant will take the stand. She's looking a little worried. For now, please state your name and occupation. I am Yomu Konpaku, Hakigokuro's gardener. And just what is the defendant to testify about? Before we get to that, allow me to report our findings from today's investigation. The location of that broken sign sees very little traffic and is far removed from public notice. Yet many curious onlookers gathered at the scene, and it was one of them who made a report to the police. And how did this come to be? Bringing together the onlookers' testimonies, it became clear that the first one that were drawn to that place upon hearing someone's voice. Someone's voice. From what we were told, the first individual to happen upon the scene let out a loud shout. Wait a minute. This sounds an awful lot like a story I've heard before. However, even after following up on all these accounts, the first discoverer could not be found. But Sakuya happened to hear a momentous testimony mere moments before court had to be convened. She was waiting outside the defendant's cell, you see. Aya! She has to be talking about... It goes without saying, the conversation we had a minute ago. And what might this important testimony be? Before I explain, do recall the testimony Satori Komeiji gave at the end of yesterday's trial. After finding a piece of that sign in her sister's pocket, she went to the scene to confirm what had happened. While that would make her the first discoverer in a sense, she would not raise her voice at the scene of the crime. She has good reason to want to conceal it after all. That is correct. Here is what concerns us. She also testified that someone suddenly came upon her at the scene. As she fled, she heard that someone's voice. And that would have been the shout of the first discoverer you've been speaking of. Exactly. And Satori Komeiji stated quite clearly in that holding cell just a little while ago, the voice she heard that then was that of Yomu Konpaku. What did you say? Order! Order! Going by this, we can be certain this first discoverer was actually our defendant. However, something like this isn't any reason for Yomu to obstruct a newspaper. Recall one more thing from me, if you would. That incident was first reported by one of these onlookers I mentioned. And not by the defendant, the first on the scene. In short, the defendant was a witness to that incident, but she has been keeping this a secret. Why is that? Testify! You're wrong? That wasn't me? Then the prosecution will call Satori Komeiji so she can testify instead. You can't! It won't be possible to keep on lying in front of Satori, and that means Yomo's secret is going to be exposed one way or the other. Defendant, why did you not report this incident? Will you testify to that? I will. Not, and then she runs out of the courtroom, gone. Like the wind. Foosh, bullet time. This must have something to do with Yomu's secret. What's going to blow up in our faces now? Get him with that Blocktown. I was flying across Gensokyo because of certain business I had to see that night. I actually forgot that this music is different for Aya, because I played the last two cases as Tenchi. That was when I happened to pass by the scene, and I saw a post standing within a signboard. At first I was surprised and let out a shout, but then I saw it was nothing worth worrying about, so I left without telling anyone. What do you mean? So you did not think this was cause for concern? Yes, the police might have been otherwise occupied, so I felt I shouldn't bother them for no good reason. What does the prosecution think of this? For now, I would like for the defense to cross-examine, so you'll make me corner Yomu for you. How sly. You do not mind, defense. Yes, I understand. Then cross-examination may begin. A Pac-Man running. So stupid. I was flying around Gensokyo because of certain business. By business, you mean that you search went on? Yes, that's correct. By the way, Chad, I started Ace Attorney Investigations 2 a couple days ago. It's actually the first time I'm ever playing that game. I just did the first case. I just did the first case, and I was like, I'm pretty excited for it because I wasn't expecting that for the first case. I mean, I knew that character was in the game from screenshots, But I was pleasantly surprised to see him show up. I was like, oh shit, cool. So, you know, I've never played Ace Attorney Investigations 2. It's all new to me. So I'll be experiencing that for the first time, and I'm pretty excited for that for sure, because I like Investigations 1 a lot. And just what was it you were looking for in the end? It has nothing to do with any incident. She really is dead set on keeping it a secret. So it has to be really embarrassing, right? You're bound to think that at this point. That was when I happened to pass by the scene and I saw a post standing without a sideboard. So you won't deny you passed by the other crime scene? Yes, such as it was. In other words, you were a witness to that incident. I suppose that is true. And having witnessed that incident, what did you do? At first I was surprised and let out a shout, but then I saw it was nothing worth worrying about. Why would you shout? Why would you think this wasn't worth worrying about? It was because I thought perhaps the signboard was being replaced. Replaced? Yes, I had heard from Oren on a previous visit that she wanted to replace the old worn sign with a new one. Come to think of it, the sign that got broken was freshly made by Oren. That was the reason paint stuck on Satori's skirt. When that dawned on me, I felt a bit foolish for shouting over something like this. Pieces of the signboard were scattered all over the scene. Are you going to claim that wasn't cause for concern? It was already quite dark at that time, and I didn't notice the debris on the ground. Then there was no reason I should have thought the sign had been vandalized merely from seeing that post. So you claim you only witnessed the signpost? Yes, I only raised my voice because I was surprised to find the signboard was missing. For now, add this statement to your testimony. Understood. It was because I thought the signboard had merely been removed from the post for repairs. What the hell kind of... What? What a weird statement. Let me confirm again, you say you only got a good look at this post. Yes, that's right. You were surprised that the signboard... The signboard it should have held up had disappeared and you let out a shout, but remembering what Oren had told you, you thought that nothing suspicious was happening. Correct, there is no issue with that, is there? It certainly sounds reasonable. Are you sure about that? Alright. I gotta get her here. Yomu. So you could properly see that post even in the dark. That's correct, isn't it? Yes, I would not have shouted otherwise. And after getting a good look at it, you thought nothing strange was going on. Is that it? Right, and so if there's no problem, there is a problem, Yomu. Because it's clear this post was snapped in half. And looking at this bizarre signpost, you still thought nothing was wrong? Order! Defendant, what is the meaning of this? It's... Good grief. If I don't take care, you'll do all my work for me. Oh, sorry. Patchily. It is as you said. Just looking at this post would make it clear some sort of incident had occurred. So why did you not report it as a witness? It was because... Yomu, please tell the truth. If you keep on doing this, we'll lose. But... It will be fine. No matter what happens, I'll stand by you as your lawyer. I understand. If you say so. Will you tell us your true reasons this time? Yes, I won't run away anymore. Yomu. Then your testimony. The true reason for my silence. The truth is, I went out shopping afternoon on the day of the incident. And somehow I left behind one of my swords back then, but I only realized after returning to Hakigokuro. If Lady Yuko knew I lost one of our treasured swords, she would be furious. I became so afraid that I thought I had to hide it from her at all costs. So on that night, I waited for Lady Yuko to go to sleep and sneaked out to look for the sword before she could notice it was missing. While I was searching, I passed by the scene of the crime and saw the broken sign there. I hadn't found my sword yet, and I knew that if I had made a report to the police, Lady Gyakuten would learn about me sneaking out that night, so I pretended I never saw anything. So she lost her sword. And you have told no new lies this time. Yes, this is the whole truth. For the time being, the defense will cross-examine. Understood. So this is where Yomu's been hiding. Anyways, let's make sure we learn all we can. That was a lot of statements to press. Holy fuck. Alright, let's get started. What were you shopping for? Groceries? Well, you are right to assume it was mostly groceries. Lady Gyakuten eats so much. Do you often have to go shopping like this? No, often doesn't quite describe it. The fact of the matter is, it was by chance that you had gone shopping on the day the incident occurred. That's right. Well, I doubt this is related to the incidents. Somehow I left behind one of my swords. As in, you set it down and forgot to pick it back up. Yes, it's rather embarrassing. Where did you end up finding that sword, by the way? It was on the steps that lead to Gyakuten. Wait, it was right on your doorstep then? Yes, well, it's always darkest under the lamppost. Even then. If Lady Gyakuten knew I lost one of our treasured swords, she would be furious. I became so afraid that I thought I had to hide it from her at all costs. Would it really be such a big deal if she found out? For one, on the way of the sword, losing your weapon is proof you are half-baked. It would be inexcusable. They call her half-baked, don't they, in one of her titles? I know Lady Gyakuten would only smile like she always does and go, "Oh, Yomu," but she wouldn't be smiling inside. That does sound really scary. People who are always smiling are usually the scariest when they do get angry. Yeah. My mind went to Yuka for that one. For the time being, I feel we all can understand the witness's circumstance. Thank you. So on that night, I waited for Lady Gyakuten to go to sleep and sneaked out to look for the sword before she could notice it was missing. But it sounds like she didn't actually go to sleep. So it seems. I think I made her worry for me on top of everything else. Lady Gyakuten said you were strangely restless, but that was because you lost your sword. Yes, I was on tenterhooks. What the fuck is that? Tenterhooks, meaning a hook used to fashion cloth on a drying frame or tenter.
Tenterhook.
What the fuck is that? What is a tenterhook? What is that? If you like stab the cloth through it? What? Huh. What the I don't know what that I don't understand what a tenterhook is. I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything from that. Lady Gyakuten may well have felt the same way. While I was searching, I passed by the scene of the crime and saw a broken sign there. I don't know what a tenterhook even is. I understand you use it with a clothesline kind of deal, but you like stab the cloth through it? That's what it looked like. How did you end up in such a place? Since I didn't know where I could have lost the sword, I retraced my steps as best I could. So the crime scene was along the way. Yes, that's it. And when you dropped in, Satori was nearby. That seems to have been the case. I hadn't found my sword yet, and I knew that if I made a report to the police, Lady Gyakuten would learn about me sneaking out at that night, so I pretended I never saw anything. So you were hell-bent on keeping your search for the sword a secret? Yes. But you did find it in the end, so why did you try to hide all this until now? Yesterday's trial confirmed you'd gone out that night from the very beginning. Lady Yoko was bound to ask you about it afterwards. What was the point of going on keeping this secret? When I first heard Tenchi's arguments from yesterday, it made me think that hiding my search for the sword could be taken as a motive for me. And so I felt I should never tell anyone. And because of that, it's now become the core of the prosecution's arguments. I believe we now understand the circumstances. And they should make the defendant's motive very clear. While this witness was the first to discover an incident, she was searching for her precious sword in secret at the time. If reporting on that incident continued, her tie to it might be discovered, and the matter of that sword might have come to Yuyiko Sayoji's attention. For that reason, the defendant thought to sabotage the victim's newspaper. I see. That would be a possibility. By setting the stolen paper in the shoji, she could dispose of the evidence without arousing further suspicion. That is the whole story of this case. But there are other newspapers covering that incident. If you didn't want anything about it reported in the news, you would have had to sabotage every single newspaper. There wouldn't be any need for that. Obstructing a single newspaper might have sufficed. What are you talking about? If trouble was made with one newspaper, you crows would flock there to peck at a fresher, more exciting incident. And afterwards, who would bother reporting on a broken sign in the middle of nowhere in detail? In that situation, the chances that a reporter would poke around and discover that the first on the scene was the defendant would fall drastically. I see. It is a convincing theory. I hate to admit it, but she's got a point. Come on. The note on Yomu's search has been replaced with a note on Yomu's sword. Yomu lost the sword on the day of the incident. She left Hakigokuro to look for it that night. After Yuyiko appeared to go to sleep, which took her to the site of the broken sign. For my part, I feel we have heard enough. Please wait just a moment. All the prosecution has shown is a motive for Yomu. There is no definitive proof she was the culprit. Oh yeah? Well, I'm dropping the charges on Yomu, so you don't have a case to convict her in. Suck on that egg, Patchy. All suspects other than the defendant still have an alibi. So there is no longer any room for doubt. Ka! It's true Satori and Koichi have an alibi. And that means Yomu is the only suspect left. Let's settle down and think, Aya. Must there really only be 3 suspects? Even then, no one else would be troubled by me reporting on that incident. That's true as far as we know. So we should ask those concerned in that other case. Was there anyone else involved in it besides them? You're right. There's still something we can do. The question is, who do we ask? There's only one option. Someone who's at the heart of the incidents but never took the witness stand. Ah, I've got it. Now if there is nothing else to discuss, the verdict. Please give us a moment, Your Honor. The defense is not done making its case. What is there left for you now? As things stand, the defense and prosecution both agree that the culprit in the office robbery is connected to the incident with the broken sign. And right now we know of 3 people involved. Satori and Koichi Komeiji and Yomu Konpaku. Of those 3, both of the Komeiji sisters have an alibi, which leaves only the defendant, as I have said. But is that really the whole truth? What do you mean? The possibility that someone unknown to us was involved in that incident still exists. Even if that were true, how do you propose to ferret out the new suspect? It's extremely simple, by asking the parties concerned in the case of the broken sign. You say parties concerned, but who among them might know anything we haven't heard yet? There's only one option. Someone who's at the heart of the incidents but never took the witness stand. Hey, aren't you just repeating exactly what I said? If you will say so, let us have the defense make them clear. Just who do you intend to call as a witness? Obviously it's them. It might be obvious to you, but I'm afraid I do not understand very well. So it wasn't them after all. It's no use asking us. You mean it wasn't Kyoko? Did you not understand what I was talking about when you cut me off? Apparently not. What the fuck? I thought that's not it. You were clearly wrong just now. Even monkeys fall from trees sometimes. It'll end badly if a bird like you falls from a tree like that one time. You promised never to talk about that again. It seems there are no further witnesses. That's wrong. There's still someone whose story we need to hear. In that case, please speak up. Who will you be calling as a witness? Is it Hat? No, it's not. Who is it? Is it Oren? It's not me. Huh. Bro, I have no idea. I have no clue. Sakuya? Wow. Whomst? I'm gonna try Tenchi next. Am I losing my fucking mind? Obviously, I'm speaking of the culprit. Oh, you know what? I understand what happened there. Because of the way the way it was worded, it made it seem like it had to be someone other than the 3 characters listed. But it was because Koichi didn't testify yet. Koichi has not testified yet. I knew that. But she was like, there are 3 suspects: Satori, Koichi, and Yomu, and 2 of them have alibis. So who else is there? And Aya is just like, who else is there? It's person I just mentioned, of course. So that kind of threw me off. What? Order. You wish for Koichi Komeiji to testify? You know, it'd be great if in this game, you know how in Ace Attorney 1, Phoenix cross-examines a parrot? Wouldn't it be amazing if in one of these games, the incident takes place the first day of spring? So you run out of witnesses, so then Aya has to cross-examine Lily White, and then Lily White comes in the stand and she just says it's spring, and that's like her entire line. That's the only thing she says. She just announces spring, and then you press her and she says it again, and then then she accidentally incriminates herself. So you gotta cross-examine Lily White, who can only say it's spring, like the fucking Phoenix cross-examining the parrot. You wish for Koichi Komeiji to testify. I do. As the culprit of the other incident, she might know if there are any other parties were involved in it. The defense demands that Koichi, who is now in custody, be summoned as a witness. The parrot actually says something, so I don't think you can make a play off that. Listen, the parrot says 2 things. The parrot says its name, and the parrot says the combination to the safe, which you use to tie into the DL6 incident. Surely you can get Lily to say something that'll work in your favor. What are the prosecution's thoughts? I'll allow it. If you insist, she can be called here. But if this proves to be a waste of time, you will have to admit the defendant's guilt. That is my one condition. That is for me to decide, but I suppose I have no objection. And what of the defense? If nothing comes out of Koichi's testimony, Yomu will be found guilty then and there. That's a terribly harsh condition. What are you gonna do, Aya? Well, we're headed for a guilty verdict if we let things go on as they are now. So I'll go for it. The defense will accept this condition. Very well. Koichi Komeiji is to be brought here from the detention center at once. You know what I noticed about this game? This game would really benefit from some breakdown scenes. Phoenix Wright has some fantastic breakdowns when you get the the game-winning accusation. This game's lacking that. So the final gotcha in these games is always feeling a little bit lacking because the response to it is never as strong or over the top. Well then, witness, your name and occupation. My name is Koichi Komeiji, and my occupation is it fine to say that I am my sister's little sister? That is quite vague, but I will have to do. Phoenix Wright, yeah, Phoenix Wright's a little more animated, which gives it a little more life to the game. It's a great series. Chad, if you've never played Phoenix Wright and you've been, if you've been watching this series in any capacity, this is pretty much what Phoenix Wright is. But Phoenix Wright is very, very, very good. I highly recommend it. Yeah, Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. There's a lot of them, though. There's a lot of them. But they're very good. They have great music, and they're pretty good stories. I love the writing for the games. Now, lawyer, just what will you ask this witness? Ah, right. For now, please testify about the time of the incident at the hot spring. More might come into view as we go from here. Will you agree to this witness? It's fine. Then you may begin your testimony. Fog of memories. On that day, after stepping into the hot spring bath, I fell unconscious. Because of that, I can't really remember anything that happened after anymore. Honestly, I can't say for sure if I even went back to the changing rooms in the middle of my bath or not. So I don't understand the incident very well either. Well, Phoenix Wright is all about, like, crazy, over-the-top, and memorable characters, right? But the stories for, like, the important cases are quite, they're quite good. Like, I think one of my favorite cases in all of Phoenix Wright is Bridge to the Turnabout. Because everything in the game that leads up to that case, and that case in itself, is really, really good. A fantastic case. But I also really like, I like the final case in Justice for All as well. Because that case is very unique. The final case in the original Phoenix Wright is fantastic as well. It's another one of those instances where, like, the events prior build up to it, and then Rise from the Ashes is a fantastic bonus case. Apollo Justice is also really good as well. Has great, a good first case and a good last case. And, like I said earlier about Investigations, Ace Attorney Investigations, different style, but I love that game's final case. That game's final case is very interesting. And everything that happens in that game is, like, tied into itself. Every case in that game actually takes place within, like, a week of itself, if you didn't know. The first case in Investigations takes place when Edgeworth returns to his office. The second case takes place 2 days before that. The third case takes place 1 day before that. The fourth case takes place 7 years in the past. 7 or 10 years in the past. I think it's 7. And then the fifth case takes place a couple days, if not a single day, after the third case takes place. Or I guess it takes a day after the first case. So everything in that game happens in the span of 4 days, but includes a flashback from like 7 years ago. It's crazy. Sorry, I really don't remember anything. Trial of Tribulations is good. They're all good. They're all good. Investigations is a little different in its style, though, and it wasn't popular enough for its sequel to get translated. However, there has been fan translation, so there is a fan translation of the sequel for Prosecutor's Path, which I've started. It is a good one, but it's a little different. It's a little different, but it is very good, and it's fun to play as Edgeworth. Yeah, it's cool to play the game as Edgeworth from Edgeworth's perspective. And just what are you supposed to learn from this, Miss Attorney? This is what cross-examination is for. You say that, but if she really doesn't remember anything, this might not go anywhere. There has to be a way to make her recall more. You're still just saying that. For the time being, the defense may cross-examine. At any rate, I can't be given up before I even begin. First off, I need to jar Koishi's memory somehow. Jar it? What, are we gonna put her in a jar? I don't like that idea at all. It's not a good. That's not a good plan. I think I know what it is though. If you were worried that I wasn't paying attention, don't worry. I already know. You see, I was paying attention. You might not remember, but the evidence does. The Yu Jar sequel? No, that was Cube Remilia. Fuck, when did I draw? Did I draw that last week? For the Omake? Not the Omake, the fighting game? I definitely remember an instance where I thought of Remilia as a cube, so I had to open Paint and show the example. Remy cube. That was very strange. The evidence. Yes, they did not disappear. Your handprints! Handprints. You must also remember hearing about Satori returning to the changing room and getting dressed. Ah, yes, that turned into the central focus of yesterday's debate. Actually, at that time, there were already wet handprints on Satori's clothes. That's a spin-off, not a sequel? Well, how do you know? Wet handprints? I didn't realize you were writing my lore. What the fuck? In other words, before Satori went, someone else must have entered the changing room and touched her clothes with wet hands. And wouldn't that have been you, Koishi? A Rubik's Cube? No, a Rumi's Cube. A Rumi's Cube. It's like a Rubik's Cube, but the puzzle is you have to assemble a square Rumia. A Rumi Cube. If you succeed, it explodes and turns into a Rumia. Sis's clothes. How is it? Have you recalled anything? The smell. Eh? Is this along the same line as the Rumia pogo stick again? Bro, I forgot about the Rumia pogo stick. Rumia's got her own set of toys. She's got a Rubik's Cube now, and she's got a pogo stick. That's crazy. Rumia is investing. Yeah, it's hazy, but I remember it. Back then, I definitely went to the changing room. How is it cursed? I don't understand what's so cursed about a pogo stick modeled after Rumia. Yeah, it smelled like Sis. You just take Rumia and you turn her upside down, and she's a pogo stick because of the way her hands are. That's all. I simply don't understand what's so cursed about that. Satori's smell? Yeah, that's it. Sis's clothes were there. That was where her set came from. There's no mistake. I grabbed Sis's clothes. I remember the smell from back then. We've taken a step forwards then. However, what could this lead to? We can still try to retrace Koishi's memories this way. Is that fine with you, Koishi? Sure. It feels like I'll be able to recall all kinds of things speaking with you. So let's give it a try. Now let's get on a journey into the unseen. What will we find at the end, I wonder? You want another toy? Here's one. Chat, you ever hear of Hot Wheels? You ever hear of Dinkies? We'll get ready for a Rumia-themed small convertible collection known as the So Nano Cars. I gotta get a sick F1 demarcation theme with a cool track. Make sure it's got a loop-de-loop. What did I do? Pocket Circuit Racing featuring the Rumia cars. The car is just, here's the car, chat. The car is Rumia doing a yoga pose where she stretches her body up and her arms are out. So her arms are the spoiler, right? her arms are the spoiler, and then her feet are like the hood of the car, and that's the Rumia car. Cause you know, if her arms weren't the spoiler, then it would be like kind of a bad design for a car and like a track, right? But if you make it like the spoiler, if you make it like the spoiler, then you can shape it like Rumia perfectly. So, okay, so while me and Sis were in the hot spring bath, I fell unconscious. But I came to just a little bit at some point. It might have been because I needed to go to the toilet. So I returned to the changing room, and I went to the basket our clothes were in. I don't remember anything past that, but I must have gone out to break the sign just after. This is definitely more concrete a testimony than before. Whoops, read that wrong. But the developments we've been hoping for have yet to materialize. Could also pull a Carby? Yes, but that's the ultra rare. That's the limited edition collector's bundle. You know, you buy them like packs. And then there's a chance you get a car that's like just Rumia mouth agape over it, like Carby style. But the developments we've been hoping for have yet to materialize. It seems doubtful that any further concerned parties will emerge. No matter how the prosecution may feel about it, we're cross-examining. Indeed, we will not be seeing this otherwise. And with that, please begin your cross-examination. The last stop waiting for us beyond those memories, I'll reach it for sure. While we're on the topic of stretchy mouth like Carby style, we can also include some Rumia-based hardware, aka the Roomba. You know, so it's just a Roomba that goes along the floor, but it just looks like, the design just looks like Rumia tried to eat a Roomba from up top and it got stuck in her mouth. Kind of like Kirby when he eats the letter O in the sign. So that's the Roomba. It's just a Roomba with a Rumia design. It has really effective suck power. Okay, so while me and my sister were in the hot spring bath, I fell unconscious. Let's do this. For now, we can be certain you fell unconscious. Does it say Sonanoka when it hits a wall? Yes. Why wouldn't it, right? Why wouldn't it? Right? Since I can't remember, it must have been. The question is what happened afterwards. Yeah, that's true. No need to rush, Koichi. We can retrace your memory at our own pace. I was trying to process what I was reading there. Okay, I'll try. But I came just a little bit ago. I came to just a little bit at some point. It might have been because I needed to go to the toilet. The toilet, you too. Yeah, just like sis. So the both of you went back to the changing room for the same reason. Seems like it. Yeah, I definitely remember. So I returned to the changing room, and I went to the basket our clothes were in. So you went to the basket, then you also touched the clothes they were in, right? That must have been it. Do you have any memories of putting on your clothes? I do remember. A snag? What do you mean? It was with the buttons. Buttons? Yeah, that's right. The buttons. I remember buttoning up. And that would mean you put on your clothes. Right? There wouldn't be much other reason to be buttoning buttons. Then can you tell us what happened with your clothes and your testimony? Yeah, sure. Getting dressed took a bit of time because my shirt kept getting snagged on the groove and the buttons. So that's what Oren saw that was wrong. Okay. It seems it's not only the buttons that hit a snag. What do you mean? Koichi, can you look down at the clothes you're wearing right now? My clothes? What's wrong with them? Can't you see? The issue with your testimony? That's right, Koichi. There's nothing I'd call a groove on those diamond-shaped buttons of yours. Ribble rubble. Order! What is this? What now? Why would the shape of buttons change? Aya, what's going on? Witness, how do you explain this? I don't know. I don't understand it either. They were dense. I felt them under my fingers. Because I remember them getting stuck in the holes. Truly, I do not know anymore. Lawyer, you dredged up this nonsense yourself, so it's up to you to provide an explanation. I would do that even if you tried to stop me. Eh? Then you already know the answer. Naturally, I do. Is that true, Aya? There's no need for everyone to be acting so shocked. The answer is absurdly simple. Then please explain, defense. If the shape of these buttons could have changed, show the reason for it. Didn't I just do that? Here's the reason. It still makes no sense to me. Defense, please explain a little further. No, I made a little mistake. And do you think we'll let you off the hook like this? Come on, everyone makes mistakes. You had quite the big mouth until a moment ago. Ha ha. And don't try to laugh this off. I know already. Everything will be fine next time. And you may have your next time. If the shape of those buttons changed, what would be the reason for it? Oh. If there was a groove, there would have been like the heart-shaped buttons on Satori's clothes. It is true that a heart shape has a groove at the top. But what does that have to do with any of this? It's the most obvious thing in the world. At that time when Koichi put on what Koichi put on was not her own outfit. It was her sister Satori's clothes. What? I guess if she's doing it unconsciously, she wouldn't notice, right? Why? For what possible reason would the witness put on her sister's clothes? I can't say for certain, but we do know that at the time, Satori's clothes would have been above Koishi's. And so Koichi might have just unconsciously put on the first clothes she could grab. And if you think of it like that, isn't that strange? That would make some sense. And it would explain the unexpected change in the shape of the buttons. What do you think, witness? I see now. You're right, lawyer. I definitely put on Sis's clothes back then. I remember it. So that's how it was after all. Well, it does not particularly matter which clothes the witness was wearing, does it? What matters is that she did get dressed. I suppose so. In the end, this does not seem to be a very significant contradiction. For the moment, shall we resume the cross-examination starting with this new fact? Okay, I get it. Another step forward for us. Yeah, back then I put on my sister's clothes. So you really did put on Satori's clothes? Whoops. That's right, no doubt about it. Sis's scent was all around me, so that's why it was so strong that I remembered it. I was wearing her clothes. It felt like when Sis would hug me. Oh. Well, actually, the senses of smell and taste have long been known to be deeply tied to memory. Many stories have been written that feature the power of certain spices to elicit recollection. If even you will say so, then it seems we can believe this testimony. Like I thought, Koichi and Satori share a strong bond after all. Memories of Satori are the spice that will save Koichi. Isn't that touching? And now it's my turn to teach something to that frosty, insensitive know-it-all. Do you remember doing that? Honestly, I don't remember at all. But nobody can come up with another explanation, so I still feel like it must have been me. We'll be discussing this later. Yes, but she doesn't remember anything about it at all? That doesn't sound right. We've made a lot of progress since we started. We have, oops. If we can reach beyond those memories, we'll find a clue that will help Yomu. This was your idea to begin with. Well, I guess that's true. There has to be something. I can feel it. Aya. Now let's go. Our job through memory isn't over. Alright. Okay. Alright. So then the new problem arises. How did this piece of evidence appear in Koishi's outfit? You really are someone special, Satori. You might not be the one standing here now, but you're still defending your sister. What are you mumbling about now? There's something I need to make perfectly clear. Koishi was not the culprit in that incident. What? What in the world are you talking about? Yeah, you're saying I didn't do it? How can you be so sure? It's simple. At the time of the incident, you would have been wearing Satori's clothes. So this evidence should never have been in your pocket. That's the piece of the sign. Please recall Satori's testimony from yesterday. I've said it again and again, but I truly only left the bath to go to the restroom. And at that time, when I went to put on my clothes, I found Koishi's were now on top in the basket. I thought it was strange, and when I took a close look, I could see a bulge around the skirt's pocket. It was when I reached inside that I found it. And it was this piece of the sign in Koishi's pocket. But when Koishi went out, she had Satori's clothes on. If she committed the crime then, this piece should have been found in Satori's pocket. So it must have been planted there by someone else. But then it wasn't you. You're completely innocent. After causing the incident, the witness might have placed the evidence in her own pocket while going back to the changing room. Why would anyone do that? There wouldn't be any issue then. Why would Koishi deliberately incriminate herself? The witness was acting unconsciously. There would be no logic behind her actions. Wrong. The more habitual and commonplace an action is, the easier it is to do unconsciously. And conversely, anything this convoluted couldn't have been done unconsciously. Putting an object in the pocket of clothes you aren't even wearing isn't something you do without thinking. The speculating of someone's conscience like you won't be convincing anyone. We've all seen how unreliable the witness's memory is. We do not know just how far we can believe her. That is to say, she could have imagined this whole mess and have actually been wearing her own clothes. Can this witness's testimony be relied on? Should this become a point of contention? I fear this discussion will not advance further. Ka! Aside from Koishi's testimony, there's no other proof of this. What should I do? Wait! I remember now! The whole thing! So please, listen to me. There's no need for that. The witness's memory. The witness said that she remembers, and what she's going to be saying is testimony. If you want to deny it, I'll have to ask you to please show some evidence. I will sustain the defense's objection. The witness will testify. Thanks. I remember why I put on Sis's clothes. Wasn't it just because they were on top? Nope. Even if they were, I would have tried to put on my own clothes. But I couldn't. Because my clothes were gone. Are you kidding me? The plot thickens. Order! Why would your clothes have disappeared? I don't know, but my clothes weren't in their basket. So I had to put Sis's clothes on instead. It is as you heard, Your Honor. While Koishi and the others were in the bath, her clothes disappeared. That would have to mean these clothes were taken away by someone other than them. However, what might that person have wanted with these clothes? Did you forget? What about that piece of the broken sign found in Koishi's pocket? Lawyer, you can't seriously mean... There's no way I'd stop after coming this far. Let's see this through to the end. Here is the defense's stance. Koishi's clothes were stolen, and a piece of the sign was planted in her pocket by an entirely new suspect who was the true culprit. You got an extra letter in there you don't need. A new suspect. They caused this incident and attempted to lay the blame for it on Koishi, using these clothes. Miss Attorney, I am so very sorry to rain on your parade, but the time has come to live up to your commitments. Game over. What do you mean? You remember the entire reason you were allowed to call Koishi Komeiji as a witness to begin with, I hope. It was in order to prove there was another suspect in the paper theft case. Precisely. However, all the defense has shown here is the existence of a new suspect in that broken sign incident. And so, as far as these deliberations go, the defense has proven absolutely nothing. However, if Koichi Komeji's cross-examination produced no results, you would admit that the defendant must be guilty. And now I'll hold you to that promise. You still don't understand, Patchouli. I've already shown everything I need. There is now a new suspect in the case of the robbery in my office. How come? We were both in agreement. The thief who stole the paper did so to obstruct reporting on the broken sign. And now we know of another suspect in that incident. And in that case, that person also has a motive for stealing my paper. What? Then defense, you will affirm that the culprit in both these incidents was the same individual. Is that such a surprise, Your Honor? From the beginning, this was the defense's stance. When it was Tenchi standing here in my place. So, you will carry on the claims of Tenchi Hinanai. That's right. And of course, this culprit is not Yomo Konpaku, nor one of the Komeiji sisters. That's correct. And who in the world are they? I don't know that yet either. Lawyer, do you think this is a joke? No. I'm not trying to be funny. Defense, I hope you are aware of the situation you are in. Someone took Koishi's clothes and caused the incident, I'm sure of it. But I have no idea who it could have been. Aya, it'll be really bad if you don't do anything. I can see that. But there aren't any leads to the culprit's identity. What am I going to do? If there is nothing else, we will move on to the verdict. This was your agreement. But please wait. Koichi. Yeah? Did you meet anyone around that time? Like some fishy character? Fishy? Even if you say that. The culprit put that splinter in your skirt pocket. Doesn't that bring anyone to mind? Anything. Not a lot ever comes to my mind, you know. It's no use any further discussion. My pocket. Right, my pockets. What was there something about your pockets, Koichi? I do remember. When I left the hot spring after Sis and I headed back to Chitiden, there was a reporter who talked to me. And all of a sudden she pointed at my skirt and told me to show what I had in my pockets. Truly? But there wasn't anything in there. So the reporter just walked away looking confused. Koichi, can you tell us that reporter's name? Sorry, I don't remember most people's names very well. And I've never met her before. Then some kind of characteristic of hers. She was wearing a purple checkered skirt, and she had her hair in 2 long tails. A purple skirt. 2 long tails? That does sound familiar. That's gotta be Hatate! Prosecution, Hatate Himekado is to be summoned as a witness as promptly as possible. Yes. And until the witness is ready, court will be in recess. I can't believe Hat just shows up at the end and suddenly we're accusing her of crime. You managed to pull through, Aya. Yeah, sounds like it. What's wrong? You're looking gloomy again. No, this means I'll have to deal with her this time, won't I? There's no way around it. Going by what you've argued, that no one else could have been the culprit. But why her of all people? Aya, what will become of me? You can rest easy. Right now I feel like doing whatever it takes to win your acquittal. That next witness. No. The true culprit. She's the one I can't allow to beat me. This Hatate, you mean? She's someone Aya gets along with well enough to fight, you see. It's not like that at all. What you call a complicated relationship, then? No, it's actually very simple. But if Miss Hatate was the one behind it, then that means she's the one who sabotaged your newspaper. That kid, she's finally fallen this low. But looking at it the other way, why go so far this time? Feh, she's just bitter no one reads her paper. Could that really be all there is to it? You don't think so? Because if you bring what you said together, Miss Hatate also has to be the one who broke the hot spring sign. And if that's the case, getting in your way couldn't have been her only goal. That's true. Ah, it seems it's almost time. Let's go, Aya. We have to finish off this long trial. Right? My opponent might be lacking in every respect, but I guess I'll have to bear with it this time. Come on, Aya, enough. Hold on, Chad. I gotta pee. I'll be right back. I have returned to accuse Hat of being a criminal. Now let us resume. Prosecution. Is the witness ready to testify? Everything is in order. Very good. She can take the stand immediately. Yep, that's her. She's got her hat on this time. Is it just me, or does she look really tall in this game? Well then, witness, state your name and occupation. Hatate Himikaido. I am a journalist. Now, witness, do you understand the reason you were called here? Well, that prosecutor gave me the rundown. Then this will save us some time. Defense? Yes. I will leave what to ask this witness to you. Understood. Anyhow, Hatate, you ready? For what? It sounds like you went and did a body search on Koichi while covering the incident at the hot spring. Do you mind testifying about your reasons? Sure, whatever. Let's get this over with. Cocky little brat. I enjoy these two's dynamic. Contact with Koichi. The night of the 20th, I was flying about here and there looking for a story to cover. But then I heard Yomu's voice, and when I followed it to the source, I ended up at the scene of the incident. I tried to look into things myself, but with no apparent motive for the crime, the investigation stalled out. It was then that I noticed Satori leaving the hot spring, later followed by Koichi. At that moment, I realized Koichi would be the kind to make trouble for no reason, so I tried to interview her. But, well, it didn't pan out in the end. So you also considered Koichi Komeiji as a culprit in this incident? Yep. If I didn't, I wouldn't have bothered with checking on her. There doesn't seem to be anything doubtful here. That's for cross-examination to decide. Oh yeah, about that, Your Honor. Can I have a second? What is the matter? Speaking for myself, I don't get along with that lawyer. Like, at all. So I'm worried that she'll try being difficult on purpose to make me look bad. I wouldn't do that! Anyway, shouldn't you stop her from making any kind of pointless remarks? I'm pretty sure cross-examination isn't going to be getting anywhere if you don't. I suppose so. It will be a problem if you quarrel here. Very well. If pressing the witness yields only unhelpful banter, there will be penalties. No, but I love the banter. Wait just a minute. At any rate, this trial has gone on quite long. I would also prefer to avoid any superfluous diversions. And I feel the same way. Keep this in mind, defense. Damn it, that nuisance. She destroyed my banter. Damn it. Just press everything anyway? That's massive, dude. Massive amount of testimony. So you're saying that before you heard Yomu shout, you knew nothing of the incident. That's about it. But in reality, didn't you know what had happened from the very beginning? Why'd you say that? Because you were the one behind it! Miss Attorney, that is nothing more than an assumption of yours. Quite so. Have a penalty. Pressing thoughtlessly won't work. Let's focus on the truly important parts. That's easy for you to say. Anyway, there's nothing for us here. Let's move on. I thought that was pretty important, but I guess I was wrong. Fuck it. Just press everything. So you were just flying around in the night. I didn't have anything to be writing about, and the next newspaper competition is just around the corner. Wasn't that the reason why you showed up to cover that incident too? Well, I guess that's right. There's nothing unnatural about this. Is that for sure? Stop it. Was that really your only reason? What other reason do you think I had? That's what I want you to tell me. Your Honor, the defense are overstepping their boundaries. Indeed, the witness has already stated her reasons. As promised, the defense shall receive a penalty. You had to settle down, Aya. Oh, I didn't mean to skip that. Whoops. Settle down, Aya. You're a loose cannon. And you're sure about that? Until now, everyone's been saying the same thing. So what's the point of asking all over again? I agree. There's no need for us to go out of our way to tread old ground. You mean tread old ground? I was only making sure. Meaningless remarks will not be allowed. That was made very clear earlier. So that was all just a waste. And how long had you been at the scene when those two came out? Let's see. It was something like 10 minutes. The first onlookers at the scene gathered around 7:20. And it was about 7:30 when the Komeiji sisters left the hot spring. If it was the voice of Yomu Kampaku that drew the witness to the scene, everything lines up. Is there any contradiction here? Attack from another angle. By the way, what have you been doing during those 10 minutes? I was carrying out my own investigation, such as it was. That's what it takes to write a good article. Was that really all you did? If you question the witness's testimony, it is up to you to present grounds to do so. Quite right. Casting doubt on the witness without good reason will not be allowed. Now let us hear your grounds. That's... If you cannot, then resign yourself. So there wasn't any contradiction here after all. Alright. 2, 3, 4, 5. But didn't you search her? It was just a little pat down, really. I only asked her to show me what she had in her pocket. And why did you want to see the inside of her pocket? It looked like it was bulging out. I thought maybe she was hiding something. What about this testimony? But there wasn't anything in Koishi's pocket in the end. Nope, it was a bust. However, if her pocket was empty, isn't it strange you thought it was bulging out? What about it? It just made a mistake. You expect me to believe it was just a mistake? The defense is making baseless accusations. You're the one making a mistake, Patchouli. This is extremely significant. Significant? You like how the penalty stopped flashing? In what way? Please remember, even if Koishi's pockets were empty, there was originally very important evidence in there. And what if Hitate knew all about it when she asked Koishi to show the contents of her pockets? What are you getting at? You didn't ask Koishi to show the inside of her pockets because you thought they were bulging out. You did it because you knew you'd find a piece of the broken sign in there. What the heck? How would I know something like that? Only 2 people should have known about the evidence that has been hidden in Koishi's pocket. Satori, who found it and concealed it from everyone, and the true culprit who put it there in the first place. In other words, because this witness was the true culprit, she knew about this evidence ahead of time. If a piece of the broken sign had come out of Koishi's pocket then and there wouldn't have been any way she could defend herself. All of it was a trap set up by Hitate. Order! I just can't keep up with those crazy stories of yours. You'll go this far to paint me as a criminal? To write good articles, you sometimes have to let your imagination loose. Then why don't you let me put a question to you, Aya? Maybe your loose imagination can help answer it. If you're gonna say I was the one who wrecked that sign, why would I do something like that? Oh. I got you now, you fucking bitch. Oh. If you wanted to throw me for a loop, you should have come up with some tougher questions. Even Cherno could figure something like this out. No, I don't think she could, actually. Then you have an idea of the witness's motive, defense. Naturally, Hatate told us all about it from the very start of her testimony. I was flying about here and there looking for a story to cover. That's right! Fabricating material for your newspaper was your motive! Fabricating material? Hatate's newspaper has always had one fatal drawback: the lateness of its reporting. To overcome something like this, you need to gather the latest news. But if you start incidents yourself and report on them, you can strike gold every time! You sound as though you speak from experience. Remember, Hatate was a prosecutor in one of the games, so she has voice lines. Too bad, Aya. That's not gonna hold up as a motive. And why not? Cause that incident got picked up on by lots of other Tengu pretty much immediately. There was no way I was keeping this as an exclusive. If you were gonna go all that trouble just for a scoop, you'd want to do something less overt, right? Certainly this seems rather weak a motive. You call it a counterblow? Don't be naive. You got something to say? The key point in this whole case has always been the perpetrator's unclear motive. That's why even though so many knew of the incident, no one was able to discover the true culprit. But then what would happen if Hatate was the only one to write an article exposing Koichi? Well, yes. That would certainly make the witness's newspaper stand out. You mean, this witness specifically used Koichi Komeiji as her patsy for that purpose? There's no doubt in my mind. Only a hack like you would try to write an article like that, Aya. Oh, you still want to act tough. My point is, that only makes sense if Koichi wasn't really the culprit, even though she's admitted it to herself. Sorry, I read that backwards. Koichi's clothes were stolen. She couldn't have done it. I wonder about that. It seems the witness has some ideas about this. Yeah, of course. If so, it might be easier to have you testify again. Is that acceptable, defense? Understood. Now, what is she going to try next? It was Koichi all along. When Koichi falls unconscious, she can't remember what happens after properly. Can you really trust the word of someone like that? She did the crime herself, wearing her own clothes. At least there's no way you can prove it didn't happen like that. What would these culprit of yours have needed Koichi's clothes for in the first place? She's got a point. So you insist that Koichi Komeiji was the culprit? I've got no idea why anyone else would be suspected to begin with, least of all me. How about that, Miss Attorney? There does not seem to be any basis for your claim. I could say the same of hers. Anyway, just give me a free hand in cross-examination and I'll make it clear which of us is correct. Very well, you may cross-examine as you wish. Alright. It's time to press A. But Koichi managed to remember, and you've forgotten that she's accused of a crime. It could be that she just lost her nerve and changed her story so she could save herself. That possibility certainly does exist. Anything I say here will just be a waste. She did the crime herself, wearing her own clothes. And where's your proof of that? Right back at you. Is there any proof at all that Koichi couldn't put on her own clothes? That is, this idea that she was wearing Satori Komeiji's clothes is based entirely on the suspect's own testimony. To what extent can we believe something like this? So they want to throw out Koichi's whole testimony. At least there's no way you can prove it didn't happen like that. It's true I might not have the evidence to prove it now, but that doesn't mean there's no evidence at all. The point is, when it comes down to the testimony of a suspect about to stand trial against the testimony of a disinterested third party, who should you believe? You don't have to answer that, it was a rhetorical question. When she runs her mouth with a straight face like this, I can't help but get angry. What would the culprit of yours have needed Koishi's clothes for in the first place? That's already been settled. It was to plant a piece of the sign on Koishi. So about that, wouldn't it make a lot more sense to just bring in that piece afterwards and slip it in her pocket? That is true. There would be no need to take her clothes to the scene and back. Seems there was quite a hole in your logic to begin with, Miss Attorney. I actually didn't think of that at all. What do we do, Aya? You really wouldn't have to steal clothes for that. Right? And if there was no need to do it, they'll hurt the credibility of Koishi's testimony. So I had to show a reason one way or another. Well then, defense, was there a reason the culprit had to take the clothes from the hot spring? Oh god, I don't know. I can't think of any. I can't think of anything. So that's as far as your deductions went after all. God, I hate it when I can't argue back. Ah yeah, at this rate everyone will start believing Koishi was the culprit again. I can see that. If they make up their minds that Koishi was guilty, my chance to catch Tate will slip away. So I have to prove her wrong any way I can. But how are you gonna do that? Let's think it through. How can I make everyone see what Koishi told us was the truth? We know the true culprit must be Tate, there's no doubting it now. And that should lead us to the answer. When Koishi falls unconscious. Oh shit. To disguise themselves. It was to use them as a disguise. You mean that the culprit put on Koishi's clothes in order to impersonate her? That's right. So that's as far as your deductions went after all. What, you have a problem with this? How about you just think back to where the scene of the crime was? It was a path that doesn't see a lot of traffic. There's no point in disguising yourself at a place like that where nobody's gonna see ya. I remembered Hat's ability, yes. I think it's the other way around. Even if not many people usually pass through there, it isn't impossible that someone might. You disguise yourself on the off chance that someone might see the moment of the crime so you can avoid suspicion. That only makes sense. Regrettably, I do not find this very likely. Why not? Because what would you do if someone did see you? The culprit would have no choice but to flee the scene dressed as they were. And running away could very well lead to being seen by even more people. Furthermore, that disguise would not stand up to any kind of scrutiny. Not to mention that in the meantime, Koichi Komeji's clothes would vanish from the basket for quite a while, which might end up being discovered by, say, Satori. In fact, the risk of being found out would only increase. Ugh. In that case, did the culprit disguise themselves under the assumption they would not have been seen? Then there'd be no need for a disguise in the first place. But there wouldn't be a reason to take these clothes if it wasn't to use them as a disguise. Which means the suspect's testimony that her clothes had disappeared must have been untrue. That's not possible. You really are pig-headed. Let me just spell it out for you. There'd be no point in putting on a disguise if nobody was gonna see you. Oh. Ho ho! There was only a single person for whom a disguise like this one could have mattered. Don't be absurd. There's no meaning in a disguise that won't be seen by anyone. Even if it's not seen, it can still be photographed. Yes, especially if thoughtography is involved. Ah! Order! Defense, what on earth are you saying? Exactly what it sounds like. As long as she has a time and place, this witness can take pictures of any scene she pleases. Simply put, if she impersonated Koichi at the time of the crime, she could capture that moment in a photograph. Yeah, you're just saying whatever you like. It was also that you could take a picture of the moment of the crime later than you needed to disguise yourself as Koichi. And to do that, you would need to take her clothes. Hold just a moment. This witness and Koichi Komeji look nothing alike. Even in a picture, it would be blatantly obvious it was only someone in disguise. The main point is these pictures would have been taken with Hatate's thoughtography, and as we've seen before in this court, her photographs blur very easily. And on top of that, the incident took place after dark, so the scene wouldn't have been well lit. If all you could properly make out were the features of Koishi's clothes, it wouldn't be possible to tell if it was only a disguise or not. Not so fast. If that were true, I'd have shown off these pictures long ago. Right. In reality, the witness made no photographs of that moment. You told me yourself earlier today, you'd taken pictures, but they were so blurry you couldn't tell me anything about the culprit. To sum up, your pictures were even worse than expected, to the point that they were completely useless. If you want to say otherwise, then why don't you show off what your photography can really do right now? Urgh. You caused this incident and pinned the blame on Koishi. Also, you could be the one to expose it. Am I wrong? That's a lot of crap. Well, how about it, Your Honor? For the time being, the defense may present their case. Understood. If she put her mind to it, I know an accomplished stalker like Hatate could learn about Satori Komeiji going to the hot springs by themselves. An accomplished stalker. About Satori and Koichi going to the hot springs by themselves that night. And then she would put together a plan to make good use of the opportunity. After the two of them entered the bath, Hatate put on Koishi's clothes and smashed the sign outside. Afterwards, in order to entrap Koishi, she returned her clothes to the basket with a piece of the broken sign placed in her pocket. But why would she target Koichi Komeiji? It was because of how Koichi falls into unconsciousness. As we've seen, framing someone comes with many pitfalls. If your scapegoat has an alibi or a motive can't be shown, it can fall apart. But none of these applies to Koichi. Even if she stayed put in the bath the whole time, everyone would still convince themselves she could have done it somehow. On top of it, Koishi's own memories would be unreliable. In the end, she couldn't know herself to be innocent. And you took advantage of that. How could this be? Then when Koichi came out of the hot spring, you would approach her and make her take that piece of the sign out of her pocket. With that evidence in your photography, you could expose Koichi as the culprit all by yourself. And what a scoop that would make for you. This was your whole plan. Order. Witness, speak up. I won't allow this. None of it. What's gotten into you now, Patchy? To begin with, this trial is supposed to be about the theft that took place in your office. Whether the witness broke that sign or not is completely irrelevant. So everything the defense has been claiming is invalid. You can't be serious. The culprits in both these incidents were one of the same. I won't allow that to stand any longer. What are you saying? Because reporting on that incident was of no concern to this witness. In other words, she had no motive to be stealing paper or sabotaging any newspapers. Yeah, why would I care what I was doing? If I had that kind of time, I would have been finishing up my own article. Hatate had a clear and pressing motive. There was a reason she needed to obstruct me. And you are certain of this? Of course. You don't know a thing. There's just no way. Hatate had to keep my newspaper from being published because of this. It's all written down here. What is this? This is an article manuscript I wrote. What's that got to do with anything? The issue is, what I wrote about the incident aligns with the scenario Hatate has made up. It's true the incident itself came to the attention of many other Krotengu, but not a one of them could discover the true culprit. That was what would make Hatate's report valuable. However, even if it was only a guess, I was also going to accuse Koichi. If this article was published, it would undercut Hatate's, so she sabotaged it. It's too bad, but that's not gonna fly. What does that mean? Even if Aya was gonna call Koichi a criminal too, it'd just be speculation without any evidence to back it up. But if what Aya's been saying was true, I've already made up concrete evidence, so my article would have been much better. Sadly for you, that's what's not going to fly, because your plan was a failure. Then let's see some proof. Proof this plan of the witnesses failed. I mean, isn't it just this? It's true that you prepared definitive proof that Koichi was the criminal, but it was concealed from you and everyone else by Satori's hand. And just like that, the evidence you'd used to have Koichi arrested was lost, and she just walked away. But with my thoughtography, the pictures were blurred to the point of uselessness, weren't they? And so your article and mine would be on par. In that situation, if you wanted to hold on to your scoop, your only choice was to sabotage my newspaper. Isn't that right, Hatate? Gah. Yes, I did it! I took the boots! They're here, under the floorboards! But if it was all to hide that Koichi was the culprit, if that's a motive, then Satori has a motive too! Satori, much like Koichi, has an alibi for that incident. There's already been proven by Marissa yesterday. She wouldn't need to steal your paper herself. She has a bunch of pets who'd do anything for her. It is true that we may need to confirm their alibis as well. Sadly for you, if this was done out of concern for Koichi, there remains a tremendous contradiction. What now? While I was intending to accuse Koichi, we now know that Hatate would be doing the same. And that means or and whoever would need to sabotage the Kakashi Spirit News as well. Ah! Not only were you the first on the scene to suspect Koichi, you even accosted her in public, Hatate. No matter how you think about it, you should have been targeted before anyone else. Qua! In fact, this was very strange to begin with. Why was Hatate left alone, but not me? That is true. Going by all that we now know, it does seem very likely this witness should also have been targeted. And so, out of everyone with a motive to obstruct me, only you remain. It was you who broke into my office and stole my paper. But if you held on to that paper too long, it was possible they would be tracked down. After all, it was bound to get Momiji to help. Certainly, it would be troublesome for the culprit if the scent was traced. Therefore, you had to offload it as soon as possible. So you took the paper to Hakugokudo. And I'm sure that, to give Yomo a reason to use it up, you punched holes in their shoji while you were at it. Sure enough, when she found the shoji in that state, she took that paper and used it for the repairs. And just like that, Yomo would end up being the one to pay for your crime. Wait just a moment. Why on earth would she choose to frame Yomo Konpaku of all people? As far as I can tell, this witness and the defendant have no connection. It might be because while she was staking out the other crime scene, Hatate heard Yomu's voice. Her loud, unexpected shout must have been quite surprising to Hatate. It would leave an impression on her. So when she had to think of someone to pin a crime on, she would remember Yomu as someone she knew for a fact to be out and about that night. I see. And thus she thought she could let the defendant bear the blame. We're not done here, Araya. Now that you brought her up, there's still Yomu. After all, it'd be bad for her if the incident kept being reported on. Unfortunately, the idea that Yomu was the culprit runs into the same problems. To begin with, the argument is that Yomu didn't want it known she was at the scene of the crime that night. And in that case, wouldn't it be the Kakashi Spirit News valued thoughtography she'd have to worry about? Ah! In the end, you should have been the one sabotaged. Now that it has come to this, the witness only seems ever more suspicious. But wait a minute. Like Aya was saying from the beginning, Yomu's motive had nothing to do with the other case. If you think of it like that, then it all makes sense. If her motive had nothing to do with the other incident, then what was it? I mean, she really just wanted paper to fix her shoji. The shoji wasn't torn yet when Yomu left Hakugokudo. Lady Yuriko testified as much. This entire part of the game is just absolutely clowning on Hatate's arguments. The rebuttal game is strong. But your Lady Yuriko's close with the defendant, so she could be lying to protect her. I suppose that cannot be denied. Yomu couldn't sneak out till Yuriko had gone to sleep, so she might have been practicing with her sword to kill time in the meanwhile. But then she tore holes in that shoji screen by mistake, and she had to take care of that somehow. How about it? That's not even worth considering, Hatate. Yomu couldn't have been practicing with her sword that night. Get him! I've been wondering about this for a while now, but you're oddly knowledgeable about these incidents. Well, I had to learn all I could about them so I could write my articles. Then you should have already heard. On that day, Yomu had lost her sword. Damn it! So how could she have broken the shoji with a sword she didn't have? Hold up! It doesn't take a sword to tear a shoji! Then can you give us an example of the kind of events that would lead her to break that shoji? It is true that holes in the shoji could have been torn in all manner of ways, but would that really be something the defendant would need to conceal? At that time, her lost sword would have been the only thing on Yomu's mind. Breaking the shoji by accident would have felt like just a trifle. At least she wouldn't start a whole incident just to hide something like this, since she had far bigger fish to fry that night. That's just quibbling. The point is, rather than bend over backwards to see Yomo as the culprit, we need only look at Hatate. She has clear motive and no alibi at all.
Thank you.
Haven't we had enough of your imaginary suppositions, Miss Attorney? Imaginary? You have set up a great many hypotheses here, but nothing even resembling conclusive evidence. So whether any of it is true or not, how do you intend to prove it? Aya? Certainly the witness seems as suspicious as can be, but if there is no verifiable evidence, this cannot be said to be decisive. Hatate is guilty as sin. There's no doubt about it. So why can't I prove it? So is that it? If you've got no more business with me, can I go home already? Wait! You're still under suspicion. In which case, how about this? This witness will testify to all her actions on the night of the incident. And if the defense's cross-examination does not bring up any problems, the witness will leave the court. I suppose that would be the most reasonable way to proceed. Will you agree to this defense? Whether I agree or not, I don't really have any other alternatives here. I understand the defense has no objection. Then the witness is to testify again. Yokai Mountain, mysterious mountain. Like I was saying a little while ago, the night of the 20th, I went flying around Gensokyo looking for a story to report on. That was when I heard Yomu's voice and I followed to the crime scene. I was there inspecting the place for about 10 minutes thinking up what to write in my article. Then I noticed Satori and Koichi leaving the hot spring and thought that maybe they had something to do with the incident. But since I couldn't find anything more to the end, I gave up and just went back home. From then onward, I was at home working on the latest issue of my newspaper until morning. Oh, I already saw the problem there. And there were no lies or omissions here. Obviously. Well, it's not like you'd ever admit to lying. But making her admit to such a thing is your task, isn't it? So let us see you try. Now then, defense, whether you are ready, you may begin your final cross-examination. Understood. This is where everything will be settled. I see the problem. I already see the problem. My brain is working overtime right now. It's a rare treat. Well, first, I gotta press for information. And what was that inspection like, concretely? Well, there wasn't really all that much to be doing there, so I just looked around the scene. And did you find out anything? Nothing, but it was worth a try, right? What happened afterwards? I guess not. I'll press everything. I will press everything. My brain went too fast, now it's mush. That's all. Around the time was... what time was that? Well, I don't really remember what I had it at exactly. At any rate, this would have been all before the incident occurred. Right, I think so. Well, nothing objectionable here. You say it was Yomu's voice, but did you recognize it back then? Sure, it's not like I don't know her at all. And by the way, where were you when you heard her voice? I mean, there's not much to say about it. I was just somewhere near the scene passing by. At that time, did you see the defendant herself? No, I didn't see her. Really? Was there inspecting the place from my article? Okay. And by that you mean you thought Koichi must have been the culprit? That's right, so I asked her to show me what she had in her pockets. But why her pockets? Her skirt pocket looked like it was bulging out. Guess it was my eyes playing tricks on me in the darkness. There's nothing weird about that, right? I suppose not. So that opening's gone now. But since I couldn't find anything more in the end, I gave up and went back home. You gave up that easily? Well, there wasn't anything to be found at the scene, so it couldn't be helped. And the police also showed up, so I didn't want to get involved in that way. None of this seems unnatural at all, does it? Nothing to delve in here either. From the onward, I was home and my latest issues of my newspaper until morning. So you didn't take a step outside from then on? Not one. I was working on my paper the whole time. If that is true, you could not be the culprit. And if there was no meanings to debunk this testimony, shouldn't we let the witness go already? I suppose so. This is bad, but are there really no issues at all with her testimony? Well, obviously I'm going to press harder. But isn't that just a little strange? What are you trying to say? You say you worked on your newspaper through the night of the incident, but that contradicts the evidence. Now this is interesting. Go ahead, I'm all ears. Why don't you show this evidence that proves the witness didn't work on her articles? It's this newspaper I have right here. And how is this significant? The problem is the issue's date of publication. That is to say, today. What is that? Directly presenting the evidence without pressing also works. Oh, neat. Listen up. The incident took place the night before yesterday. That was April 20th. If you were working on this issue throughout the night, should it have been published on April 21st? On top of it, in that day's trial, Koichi confessed to being the culprit in the other incident herself. Because of that, Hatate lost her big scoop. No matter how you think about it, that's unnatural. Certainly, after yesterday's trial, making accusations about Koichi Komeiji would be entirely unremarkable. Why would the witness not have published her newspaper before today? It couldn't be helped. I couldn't go pointing the finger at Koichi without any evidence. Unlike I don't write anything I can't back up. And was that really the only reason? Well then, what other reason do you think there was? In order to sabotage my newspaper, you sneaked into my office in the middle of the night. And after making sure you weren't going to be caught, you didn't have time to get any work done that night. You couldn't publish anything the next morning and set the writing throughout the day, but then Koichi went and confessed in court. So all you could do is rewrite your articles from scratch to be finally done this morning. That's some paranoia you've got going. That night you broke into my office instead of working on your articles. And this is why your paper was published late. That's a complete lie. Every single time it's the same thing. Don't you get it? Yomo got caught with the stolen paper in her hands. Koichi admitted she must have broken the sign herself. But there's no proof I ever did anything wrong. I never even went near your office that night. That's quite enough. For the time being, the defense's claims is only a guess. This cannot be called a decisive contradiction. Resume your cross-examination from this point. Understood. One step at a time. I never even went anywhere near Aya's office that night. I don't believe you. You really never came near. You're not gonna believe me no matter what I say. If you wish to deny it, then present evidence. And if you cannot do this, keep your mouth shut. I was only asking for confirmation. If it's confirmation you want, then you're pestering the wrong girl. Who should I ask then? You know who I'm talking about. If I got anywhere near your house that night, then Momiji would have noticed. Momiji? She was there the whole night, so if anyone came near, she'd know just from the smell, right? And Momiji knows how I smell, so she would have had to have noticed. But Momiji had already gone to sleep at that time. Of course she wouldn't notice a thing. Well, isn't that unfortunate? Ka! Why did this have to happen that one day I asked Momiji to clean up this whole office? Actually, that's exactly it, though. This will be the last cross-examination. If I can't break this down, it'll be the end for us. How are you gonna do that, Aya? I know exactly how I'm gonna do it. Anyway, let's press everything we can to get out of here. I can't ever looking for the smallest mistake. No, I know what it is. Because I reviewed the profiles. How could she know that Momiji was there that night? How could she know? It nearly flew right by me. This careless, casual contradiction. Oh, bad time for a raid. Thank you for the raid, Christian. Just at the end of the game. That's all. You know, the last cross-examination. There's like 10 minutes left, probably. Oh. What you talking about? If even I almost overlooked it entirely, there was no way you would ever notice. Well, what contradiction could there be? It's only natural you wouldn't understand, Patchouli. It's not something you'd think of. Unless you were one of us. What in blazes are you talking about? You all know Momiji is my assistant, and simply take for granted that she'd have to be in my office. But that much is only true in the daytime. In the evenings, Momiji goes home. And what does that have to do with anything? You don't understand? I thought they said it just now. That night of the incident, Momiji was in my office. Ah, and this is a contradiction. I'm not wrong. Momiji really was in Aya's house that night. That's right. Due to some special circumstances, Momiji was still in my office the night of the crime. But how would someone who stayed cooped up at home like you know about that? Ah! You and I are practically neighbors. You definitely know that Momiji returns home in the evenings. Well, if you were going to sneak into my office at night, you would want to make absolutely sure. Leaving that aside, you testified that Momiji was in my office that night. And that's because you went there and saw her yourself. Wrong. Yeah, I saw it in a thoughtograph. I've been trying to find the culprit in your case through photography. That's how I knew Momiji was there. Nice try, but Momiji would have been sleeping in the next room over. And there'd be no reason for you to snoop through my whole house to find the culprit. Gah. Now, why don't you explain that away, Hatate? Got her. Got her. Now then, if you've recomposed yourself, will you admit to everything, Hatate Himekaido? Yeah. Committing crimes for your own personal gain, laying the blame for them on innocent strangers, peddling lies. Do you realize how grave those sins are? I know already, but those are the kind of things you have to do if you want to compete. If you need to make sure you always have fresh material, this is the best way. That's what I learned by watching Aya. What? Hey! What are you trying to pull all of a sudden? Don't be coy, Aya. If it's proof you want, then I've got all kinds of pictures I could show him. It seems this is a rampant issue in our news industry. No, I'm being taken out of context. I wanted to make my newspaper more like Aya's any way I could, so I looked into her methods. When the news are slow, she starts trouble by herself, and then she reports on it. That's her big secret. So I just had to do the same too. This isn't right. I'm supposed to be the hero. How did she turn this around on me at the last second? But why Koichi? I didn't really know how to go about framing someone, so I did research on the past incidents by going through old issues of Aya's newspaper. I was looking for a story I could reproduce. That's when I found it. An article from half a year ago about the incident that Celestial caused. That incident in which I was rendered unconscious, you mean? Yeah, back then Tenchi tried to make her crime look like something Koichi might do, so she could trap Satori. And that got me thinking, you can make anybody believe just about anything as long as you told them Koichi did it. By playing on how she slips into the unconscious. Good grief, it is truly saddening that you would choose to squander your talents on something like this. I have to catch up to Aya any way I can. That's why. There is nothing wrong with healthy competition. It is crucial in driving you to be the very best you can. However, that much can never justify a crime. Hone your skills and in doing so, better yourself as a person. That is the good deed you can do right now. Yes. Now it seems this trial has finally come to an end. It certainly has. Come to think of it, I suppose there is no longer any need to hold the other trial we scheduled. Ah, yes, the charges against Koichi Komeiji have also been cleared. And so all that remains to be done is to deliver a verdict and bring this trial to a close. Yomo Konpaku and Koichi Komeiji are both to come to the stand. Yes, I'm right here. Good. I will now render my verdict on the defendant, Yomo Konpaku as well as Koichi Komeiji. Not Donzai. Court is adjourned for today. Aya wins. It's finally over. Thanks for hanging in there, Aya. Are you talking about the trial or the sermon that came after? Both, I guess. It's not fair! I stopped a horrible miscarriage of justice! Again! So why did I have to sit through a lecture? It couldn't be helped. It was your past misdeeds finally catching up to you. Don't call them misdeeds. Honestly, even after all that lecturing, you're still full of energy. If I don't keep myself worked up, I feel like I'll pass out on my feet. There, there. The trial and lecture are over now, so all is well, right? Bleh. I still can't beat you as a reporter. I know that already. You don't need to tell me. So I'll just have to beat you in some other way. That's a promise. Some other way? The hell are you talking about? One of these days, I'll be the one to beat you in court, and it'll be fair and square. So don't you dare lose to anyone until then. Alright, Bon Karma, Jesus. Hey, Hatate. She's gone. What's her problem? That's just how it is between two people who get along well enough to fight. Maybe. Until one of us finally kills the other. Come on now, Aya. Whoa. Whoa, where did this music come from? You're here! Hiya! Yomo and Koichi, have you been waiting here for the sermon to be over this whole time? Yeah, of course. You saved us, so we couldn't just run off without ever saying thanks. If it's for such a reason, then I know Lady Iyako wouldn't mind having a late dinner. You two. Well now, it seems I won't be getting my chance to shine. Miss Satori, as one should expect from you, Aya, you went and saved Koichi without me having to do anything. No. If you hadn't found that piece of the sign, it all would have gone just the way Hatate wanted. From the beginning, you were the one who saved Koichi, Satori. Aya. And? Hey, you, hiding around that corner. Hurry up and get over here. What? Who's hiding? I just happened to be passing by. Alas, the grand entrance of the young heiress has been spoiled. Be quiet. Oh, so you were waiting for Aya to come back too? Well, the defense was originally something I took on. So naturally I would want to have words with you now that you've seen it through. Tenshi, this time I'm the one in your debt. Thank you. I was only trying to kill time. Even then, thanks. It's so weird. All the people who didn't get along until not too long ago are like the best of friends now. If the incident didn't happen, it wouldn't be like this. No doubt. You might call it an ordeal by fire. Fire is the test of gold, after all. It's true that this incident was also painful for both of us, both of we sisters. Okay. But it is also, but it has allowed Koichi and I to face one another, so I cannot be upset about it. That's right. I also think it was made me reconsider the meaning of trust. Well, it also made me, it only made more work for me. I know you don't mean that. It's thanks to this that you can bask in the gratitude of all these people. Yeah. And a few days later, I finally managed to publish the kind of articles I've been chasing after. A newspaper might only look like a sheaf of papers, but the many stories and wishes of the people it tells are baked in it. It seems like such an obvious thing to say, but somehow it felt like I'd forgotten it until now. Yeah, so there's a splash image. That's a good one. What a jam. Oh, no credits roll. But that's it. That's how it ends. It's all done, Shot. It's all done. They all lived happily ever after, except Hatate. She got away with just a lecture. You know how it goes. So, yeah. That's it, chat. That is the next chapter in our Ace Attorney video game. So, there wasn't too much 10 Desires. The only 10 Desires to show up was Kyoko. But even then, she wasn't really much of a, she wasn't really a major player in any of the cases. But this was a game that is like, it takes, the cases take place before the third game, so it's kind of weird like that. But yeah, no, that was really good. I liked that trial a lot. Now, obviously, since the stakes are always very low, it might have just been the demo discs. That's why Kyoko got involved, because they knew what Kyoko was doing, and then Kyoko was loud. So just that alone was like, because that's all the character really was here, right? Not much was known about her otherwise. What was I saying? No, this trial was really good. because like the stakes are really low for this game, obviously, so it's not like anything massive happens in that regard. But just the way that the Komeijis were written, the way Tenchi was written, the way it ties back into a case that happened in a previous game that involved those characters, and how the relationship between them due to that case was also as it was, and how, like, you know, it was good. It was good. Only case 3. What was case 3 again? Oh yeah, case 3 was right. Case 3 was Alice. Alice in Medicine, yeah. With I remember. That one was good too. I liked Medicine in that one. But no, the bonus case, the stakes of the case weren't really much of anything. But what really shined through, in my opinion, was the way the characters were handled for it. And that's kind of what I like about this game series in general. The cases are fun to do. They're not too crazy, but one of the strongest aspects of this game is definitely its character writing. I think its characters are fantastic. I love Reimu in this game, this series. Reimu in this series is perfect. This is one of my favorite iterations of Iku as well, where she's like the hero of the clouds. Momiji's great, Aya's great. There really is no poorly written character. Even the more one-off characters are still like solid characters that still fit into their personalities. I like Gyakuten a lot. Gyakuten was a good character. But like pretty much every character that shows up is true to who you'd expect them to be, but also like, you know, believable, and also has a lot of there's a little bit of a fandom put in there, but there wasn't really any character who showed up that I felt was portrayed inaccurately. You know what I mean? I like the way all the characters were done. So I think this game's strong suit is definitely its writing. But you gotta hand it to the dev. It's really hard to make engaging trials for petty crimes, you know? We're basically role playing a homicide case, but it's actually just a small charge of larceny, like 90% of the time. So yeah, it's not really a huge thing, but it's all right because it lets the rest of the writing shine through the rather non-serious setting. But yeah, no, I like this series a lot, and I hope that I get more in the future. I don't even know how many more of these games there are that are like available, but I've played 1, 2, 3, 2 extra, and now I've played Turnabout Festival. There's not much left. Well, that not much left still means there's more. And the dev does have other games as well. He has some other games. He has a murder mystery game that's based on like some old Famicom game. He's got another game as well that's more of a like story for Aya Momiji. So those could be cool to check out. But I really do enjoy the Ace Attorney series here. And I think this dev is quite has a pretty good knack for character writing. I enjoy them. But yeah, chat next time. All we can do is wait, but I will return some point in the future, for sure.